like, I'm coming from the side of like, how do I increase $5 to $20 to $100 to 1,000, etc. And then I'm being met with people that are millionaires, plus that are like, okay, well, we can't even enter the liquidity pools that you're talking about because like we'd incur too much slippage, and like that stuff didn't even cross my mind. Um, but then they like also mentioned that like, yeah, like that's when I first heard like, security is the thing that matters the most. And so I like to kind of explain that by going like, if you were a millionaire or a billionaire, right? And you needed to move your funds from wherever you were to like some bank downtown or whatever building downtown in your city. Like, and you have two options. You have the option of like somebody with like a rickshaw who can get you there in 10 seconds. He'll transfer your $4 billion or $4 million downtown in 10 seconds, but he's gonna put your money in a rickshaw. It's like there's no windows, there's no security, it's not bulletproof, etc. Or you can get it downtown in an armored vehicle that's going to take 10 minutes. As you're always going to choose the armored vehicle. You're not going to risk your money, your capital, for speed. That does not matter to you. What matters to you is that at the end of the day, your money gets to where you thought it was going to get.
Exactly. And
I
right
think
now, the narrative is utility. The next narrative coming is going to be security. And that's why I'm so bullish on SXT, because SXT basically is security. But please go on.
I think my like core argument is I'm not really on the speed side. I'll be the first person any day to agree that XRP isn't the fastest blockchain out there. But the reason why banks would use it is literally just due to the fact that it has validation while the transaction is going through. And that's something Solana or Ethereum both do not have. And banks would prefer that over anything else any time of the day, even if we're talking about cryptocurrencies or not. Being able to validate a transaction while it's happening and not after is much, much safer. So, if we were to talk about stablecoins, why would banks just use stablecoins over XRP? Stablecoins are infinitely, like, there's no supply limit to stablecoins. We see it with Tether, what they're doing with Bitcoin. So, stablecoins, they just don't serve the same purpose as you could with XRP. And I mean, we could go back and forth on this any day, but I don't think that stablecoins in the long run would win here. I just don't think they would. Liquidity would be too far spread out. And then, I mean, we talked about this last time. If Walmart wants their own stablecoin, Amazon, even if that were the case, at the end of the day, they would still have to use XRPL to connect them all. So at that point, XRP wins regardless because of the volume that's being, created over the ledger. And then, a lot of people like to argue, well, the transaction is going in and back out, which is correct. It is going in and back out, but it's using the original liquidity inside of the ledger and then replacing it with whatever transaction is coming in front of it. So when you have banks using it 24/7, it just creates total 24-hour volume, which then, because there's only a limited supply of XRP, would then create the supply shock to where you have a larger asset price. And then obviously, if they were to do this, many people would probably most likely buy the asset. And when you really point it down, it's about 7 to 8 XRP per person, assuming everybody who is in crypto would want to hold XRP. So
Well, with this limited supply you speak of, yes, there is a limited supply, but there's also Ripple dumping on people constantly. And I have an article right here. XRP news today. XRP dips 17% after Ripple's co-founder moves 175 million in XRP. So, and XRP, or excuse me, Ripple has restructured the way that their escrow operates, where they can unlock more than they ever have, and they're moving it into private wallets. And they're unloading it when not just at the end of the beginning of the month, but whenever they see fit. And the reason that they said that they do this is to stabilize the market. So how does that skyrocket the price if Ripple continues to dump on it?
I don't think them dumping it will long term affect it at all. Like I get people's concern with it, but I don't personally see it as an issue. I mean, people were dumping billions of dollars in Bitcoin the other day, and it's like nobody talks about it then. So I think the only difference is that they're part of the project. But the other thing is XRP wasn't even called XRP when it was first created. And even the Bitcoin maxis argue that Bitcoin's going to be used for payments, right? So it's literally the same argument, just different blockchains. And the side that everybody argues about is supply. If you were to run every single bank transaction on Bitcoin, which is impossible because it's way too slow, but if hypothetically you could, the price would be way too high. So when we're talking about $10,000, that's just a sweet spot where you can use less XRP per transaction over it being too expensive, because there's also issues on both sides. If it's too inexpensive, you run into issues, and if it's too expensive, you also have issues. So 100 billion tokens was thoughtfully thought out before they even created it, which is what many people fail to understand. So even if they unload, and let's say we have entire 100 billion circulating supply, it would get eaten up like insanely fast if it gets adopted. So that's why I've always said it's non-retail. It's just if they adopt XRP, the supply, like 100 billion, really isn't that much realistically.
I don't really think that adoption is what you think it is, though. I think adoption is more or less use case and utility, it actually being used. But I don't think most banks are going to use XRP. And like MMG had stated earlier, it's about security. Banks are going to want security. People, institutional money, big players are going to want security. Retail is going to look for quick, fast, right? But the big players, they want security. And that's why I think I used to be, really bearish on Ethereum. But I'm starting to realize that Ethereum is probably going to be the one because it's the most secure, and it's becoming more affordable every day. It's becoming faster as well. So unless Ripple can offer that security, I don't think that it actually gets adopted on this global scale like everyone thinks it's going to be, this global adoption of XRP. No, there will be some adoption where there are different use cases and it will be used, but it's not what you think, in my opinion.
I think to argue that Ethereum is safer than XRP is kind of a joke. I mean, I've already backtracked this. I don't like XRP. Like I said, I'll be the first person to admit other blockchains are faster. But Ethereum at the end of the day uses smart contracts, and the goal is to use XRP and not have smart contracts, because contracts are actually more unsafe. So even XRPL uses a unique node list, which is a UNL consensus mechanism, and it uses trusted validators and not miners, which confirms transactions in around 3 to 5 seconds. Whereas you have Ethereum and it's more proof of stake (POS), which they've been using since 2022, and is still exposed to risks. You could have chain reorganizations,
But
and
can't you argue that the UNL is also exposed to risk and more risk than Ethereum and its thousands of validators? The UNL is nothing more than if you want to compare the UNL to Ethereum validators, all that's saying is that instead of having Ethereum's thousands and thousands of validators, not just nodes, because there's a difference between nodes and validators, but instead of having Ethereum's thousands and thousands of validators that operate trustlessly, you have a list of 35 that run the entire blockchain in a trusted manner. Like 35 versus thousands. 35 is a lot easier to corrupt than thousands of validators that you need to corrupt.
the difference I would say is that Ripple has private validators and trusted validators, whereas Ethereum, anybody can just become a stakeholder and hold large amounts, right?
That's a
So
reason why Ethereum is more secure. It's permissionless. Anybody can run a validator versus you requiring number one, they have this list of 35, and so it's trusted. And so there's concepts in crypto as trusted, which is where you get this federated consensus model, or trustless, which is like Bitcoin, where you don't have to trust anybody. It's trustless. You can run your own validator on Bitcoin essentially. Like, right, you can run your own validator on Ethereum. With XRP, even if you strike up a node today, you can verify your own transactions. However, you do not just automatically get in that. You can't just become a validator. That's not possible. You need to have everybody else, like a large consensus of the network, go, yes, let's put that person, we're going to put that person on our UNL. This person is trustworthy. We trust them. They have to say that they trust you, versus nobody having to say that they trust you and you still being able to use the network.
I mean, that would just be like more like open use. I mean, like at the end of the day, it comes down to who banks trust more, right? So like if they decide that they trusted Ethereum more, then that would be a good argument. But like so far, Ripple by far has way more NDA agreements.
Well,
And
it would be banks saying that they trust themselves more in this case, right? That they trust themselves, that they trust versus the list of 35 people that has already been predetermined and that has influence by a centralized company. They don't
And
need that centralized company's list. They can just strike up their own validator and they can just confirm transactions and be a validator themselves.
and with the NDAs, man, that's not really a solid argument because every single person working at Ripple has an NDA. Every single it the number of NDAs isn't really indicating that there's NDAs for multiple companies for adoption or all these different things. That's very speculative.
I mean, at the end of the day, the only person I saw at the White House was Brad Garlinghouse really representing on that edge. And at the end of the day, I mean, whichever way you want to look at it, I would still have to say that Ripple and like the XRPL ledger is far safer for banks. I mean, Ripple is already trusted by major banks. They're already working with them. So it would make sense. And literally the whole reason why Ripple even was continuing to develop on the XRPL is for this exact reason, right? Like that was the whole reason they were doing it. And they have the most connections. They have more insight. As a lot of people deny this, but they've been using the private XRP ledger this whole time testing, and they've already been doing it. So, I don't think there's any sort of issues on the XRP side because if there was, they would have already presented them.
I don't think that Brad Garlinghouse being at the White House is also a good indicator of what you think it indicates. Okay, he's basically the face of the SEC's witch hunt that Trump has thrown out there that is happening, right? And that's part of why they're at the White House, because they're trying to figure out how to get this injunction lifted from them. And they're that voice of, we're in the crypto space and we're being attacked. So that doesn't really tell me that, oh, he has this what do you call it, like influence. What it tells me is that this is the face of the company that has suffered the most from the prior administration.
Can I say something real quick?
Yeah, go
Right?
ahead.
I mean, I'm not using it as like my
Hold on,
whole
Josh.
argument.
Jesse, go ahead.
Okay. The thing with Brad Garlinghouse is he's a perpetual liar. He leaks out misinformation. The thing is, my thing is, I'm not saying either way how you guys feel or believe, but he has so many times just leaked information when he wants it to pump right before they dump a whole bunch of. He does a lot of things that are sketchy, and the newest thing with XRP is they just putting away in random wallets has been sketchy, and I don't think you should trust Brad Garlinghouse. That's just my opinion.
I don't trust him. I don't trust anything they say, anything they do. It's all a theater to me. And I notice, and like Jesse said, the timing is just so impeccable of when these things happen. What do you say, MMG?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's I don't think there's a lot of weight to somebody being at the White House. I wouldn't give that too much attention. Like honestly, it's like it's a nice camera moment, but I would pay more attention to like where people are putting their money, right? To your comment about to Josh's comment about Ripple having more institutional partners or more bank partners, I think it was like that's been their goal to work with banks specifically versus a blockchain that has had the goal of being decentralized and permissionless, as I stated earlier, where anybody can just choose to build on it. And so when people choose to build on Ethereum, they don't need a partnership. They just go and build on Ethereum. And that's why we've seen when we look at the juxtaposition between like Ethereum and XRPL, where are people choosing to actually build? Where's JP Morgan choosing to build? Where's Franklin Templeton choosing to build? Where is BlackRock choosing to build? And like how much money are they putting into these projects? Where is Robinhood choosing to build? Where's everybody choosing to build? Where's like when you look at Ripple's own product, right? They started a stable coin recently, RLUSD. Where's RLUSD majorly? It's like 84% on Ethereum and like 16% on their own blockchain. Like,
Precisely.
regardless of the partnerships, all the money is going to one place. Like, the vast majority of money in DeFi is on this one place because of the argument that we made earlier, security. Like, kind of like regardless of how, like more objectively, 35, a list of 35 individuals that you can contact versus thousands of validators. The thousands of validators went out over decentralization and security. That's just how that works out.
Yeah,
So I mean,
there's a bit of a trend with Ripple that I'm seeing, and it's that it's narrative. You know. So go ahead, Josh. Didn't mean to.
no, I would just say like at the end of the day, Ethereum has had the highest transaction fees overall. Like to make an argument that that would be suitable for transactions is kind of ridiculous in a bigger sense, right? Like you can fractionalize transactions on XRP, and the congestion on ETH would also become an issue because we're talking about moving trillions of dollars around. So that would be like my core arguments.
And yet people still choose it, right? But like, for example, like a lot of these institutions that I just mentioned, the Black Rocks, the JP Morgans, the Robin Hoods, like where are they building right now too? Like yes, most people come in and they settle on Ethereum mainnet because of security purposes, because big money wants security above all. They don't care about the cost that you care about. They care about that
Facts.
security. But then when they want to like do more transactions and higher volume and micro payments, they do what Robinhood did recently. They build on Ethereum L2. And Ethereum L2 still utilizes Ethereum mainnet security. It batches up tens of thousands of transactions into one transaction and puts them on the Ethereum mainnet because that's where the security is versus having them on some other blockchain where it's not as secure. That's a roll up. That's how that works. And that was Ethereum's goal with their initial roadmap. Now, Vitalik has like mentioned that like in the next year, Ethereum is planning like because like they've gotten a lot of pressure from people because they've had a whole bunch of upgrades that focused on making things cheaper and expanding the blockchain or the network, not just the L1 blockchain, but the entire network, which is why we have all these different L2s that aren't just like well that are official L2s, not side chains. A side chain is not an official L2. A side chain is its own independent blockchain, if we're going to be honest. And then you have a rollup, which is an official L2. And so Ethereum's idea was to have all these rollups that post to the mainnet. However, it's cannibalized the profits of the L1. Like these individual rollups can make their own money. And so now they're focusing back on okay, well, how do we just straight up like number one, the L1 has already become vastly cheaper than ever before, like compared to like a year ago or something like you look at the I think a lot of people like often miss like our uh assume that the cost on Ethereum is like still like, oh, it costs this much money. Oh, if I wanted to send a like you hear people be like, if I want to send a transaction on Ethereum right now, it costs me $10 or $50. And it's like you haven't looked at Etherscan in years and it shows because most transactions on Ethereum are like 50 cents or less. Like that's just the case because they cut everything down by over 99%.
Right,
And now
and
they're looking to increase things by 10x within the next year.
yeah, they're
They're going to
looking to
continue to develop.
change the fees to become even more affordable than they are now, and the transaction speed. And I think it's a realistic goal to see it grow. If other companies can be faster and cheaper, why can't Ethereum?
I think like this is really the part where I would have to say like this is perfect because if you really think about it, even if Ethereum fixed all these issues and they started using it to move in between all these different coins, you would still need XRPL ledger anyway. So like the goal has never been for XRP to be this one-stop all, but it's going to be the thing that connects everything, and I truly believe that, right? And then like even the fact that XRP can already fractionalize at the millions means it's already steps ahead. And at the end of the day, I could actually argue that I think ADA or XLM would be better than Ethereum over. If I had to pick, it wasn't XRP, I would honestly pick XLM or ADA
Have
over
you
because
used either of those blockchains?
I'm particularly looking at ADA the most. It's
Have you used Cardano?
I haven't used it, but I have traded it.
Because it's like I haven't used it in some years because the first time that I used it, like, and again, it was congested at the time, so it became congested. But I wasn't very much of a fan of using like a full Cardano for some of my transactions. Like,
Right.
so it's not exactly the best. Like what I've seen is it's not exactly the best blockchain. I would argue that like XLM is a lot better than XRPL, or
Agreed.
Cardano. Like, so I agree with you there. However, from what you just said that I disagree with is that XRPL would be needed to move between all these different coins. It's currently not needed to move between all these different coins, and it's currently lagging behind most other like contemporary like popular blockchains in terms of interoperability. You need to point at Bitcoin to find a blockchain that's not as interoperable of such like a high name. Like XRP just got a connection. Like they're praising a side chain that has like, I don't know, less than $100,000 on it right now. They have like a connection. They just got their connection from that side chain. Again, not a true roll up to Axlar and IBC, and they just got an interoperability like integration with Wormhole, which isn't even like really being used yet. There's no bridges using it yet, but they're lagging behind. Every like Ethereum, like all these things start on Ethereum, and then they go to all these other chains. Like there's a reason why their side chain is an EVM sidechain, Ethereum virtual machine, so that they can tap into Ethereum's interoperability and its volume, and its TVL, like all the money, the liquidity over there. But like, yeah, I'm curious to hear from you, Josh. Like, why is it that you think that like if all these tokens are already able to interop with each other, they're already being traded between different blockchains and whatnot. I went from base to Avalanche last night in about 5 seconds because I saw a good yield opportunity. Like, I didn't use XRPL for that. Why would all of a sudden everything as we know it change and we have to use XRPL?
So first, what we were talking about earlier, the only reason I said ADA is because it's in my opinion the most decentralized. And then when we're going to the reason why XRP would be needed to, connect with all these other blockchains, it's simply just from a point of if we start seeing trillions of dollars flow over the crypto market, right? Because when I'm talking about like adoption, I just use it as a word, but if all of these chains started being used, I don't really like I think every chain is going to get adopted. I think every chain is going to be used, but if trillions flow, the other side of it is which coins are regulated in other countries to be used. XRP has that. XRP has more contracts in every single country than any other chain in the world, which makes them perfect for it. And when we're talking about liquidity, XRP is so close to flipping ETH even. The minute we get ETFs or even more open interest or people start finding out what they're actually trying to build, the liquidity is going to be massive, and that could be a huge hedge on it. And it's just regulated in more countries. So even if something is usable, the question is where is it usable also? Because we have to look at, is Europe going to want to have their transactions over Ethereum? Would China want to have their transactions over Ethereum? Or would
Well,
China and
I
Europe?
think so. I think so because they could just spin up their own Ethereum L2.
You
Like
know
they
what?
can just make their own regulatory compliant blockchain on Ethereum and have it be super cheap and use Ethereum security.
UB says in the chat, it's not about who's the most decentralized, it's about what big money will use. And big money will use secure transactions.
Can I say something real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you, TikTok seller.
I mean, like I said, like
Hold on a
XRP
second,
has.
Josh. Hold on a second, Josh. Go
Oh,
ahead,
sorry.
Jesse.
I'm not on the TikTok live, so.
Oh no. In reality, any of us, our first priority is going to be security. You don't leave your house without locking it. You don't leave your car without locking it because it is a source of value. So here's my thing. Even if you have to pay a little bit more, you're going to go with the secure option. And the reason is you would rather have Tommy with the gun next door than little Susie with the plastic scissors to protect you. So the problem is people, and myself included, I'm going to pay a little bit more for that security than pay a little bit less and feel uncertain. That's all I had to say.
Right, what if, let's say I had some money, right? And I wanted to keep it safe. Am I going to give it to some guy standing on the corner and say, hey, can you take this and run this down the street and go deposit it for me real quick? And you know, he's on crack. He can pedal that bike twice as fast as anybody else. But am I going to give it to him, or am I going to give it to the armored car to have them go drive it down the road? You know, it's literally that simple. Like, I don't trust some random dude on a bike to go make sure that my money gets delivered. I trust the armored car because I have a lot of money and people want that. Go ahead, guys.
Oh yeah. Before Josh takes the floor again, I would also just like to throw something in there. Like you made a comment that, and we don't have to stay on this. I would just like to say that well, I've argued this with people in chat before. Decentralization is like not black or white, right? Decentralization is a spectrum, and so there's various things that play into what is actually decentralized, right? So it could be the validators, it could be your ability to vote, it could be the supply, it could be there's all sorts of things like how it's distributed. All sorts of things play the decentralization, and the sense of like calling like Cardano the most decentralized. I think maybe you're like focusing on like maybe the set of validators or something, but you can easily like counter that by saying I believe Bitcoin probably has more, or like Ethereum might have more, or in terms of voting, like Polkadot has what's known as the largest on-chain governance ecosystem. So they have the most people that actively participate in voting, and that could be considered decentralized. But yeah, I don't. I mean, I'm not that I'm saying Cardano isn't decentralized. Obviously, it's decentralized and more than some other blockchains that we've talked about today. But I don't know that I would just free-handedly give it the top dog spot.
What do you think of this? Trends to You says in the chat, bro, would you trust Ripple is secure once they're a bank? What do you think on that comment?
I would trust them the same as I trust any other bank. There's a reason why I like cryptocurrency to begin with.
Exactly.
I don't necessarily trust the banks.
Do not
Like when
trust
you put
the
money
banks.
in a bank, you don't own that money anymore. The bank owns your money. I want to own my own money.
Yes. And that's why I brought it up, because I was like, that is the worst argument I've ever heard. That's why we're all here in crypto, because we don't trust the banks, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Right.
But go on.
So, is everybody? I'm assuming, kind of our kind of basis argument right now is over smart contracts or XRPs.
Well, no, like mine was that like I would call Ethereum more decentralized due to like the number of validators and it not relying on a trusted base of UNL, the UNL list of just 35, which not only is it just a list of 35, like similar to like Binance Smart Chain, but like, well, again, similar to Binance Smart Chain, Ripple, a centralized company, has influence over that list, and that centralized company also owns the majority of the supply which they release to the public whenever they like feel like it. Like if they like, yes, it gets released from escrow monthly, but if we look back to the past, there was times where they like it just wasn't being released. It's like okay, it unlocks and we keep it. We just kick it down the road. Like when I say they keep it, they lock it back up. Maybe they lock up all of it. But in general, they like choose how they choose, because when you read their website, when you read their documentation, they own all of that XRP. It's theirs. They do whatever they want with it. They
Exactly.
own the vast majority of the supply of that token. That's not decentralized. And so like yeah, my argument is that like the Ethereum ecosystem is wider. It's the biggest DeFi ecosystem in cryptocurrency. There's more new addresses being added to Ethereum than XRP or the XRP ledger. Somebody was just like celebrating in my comment section the other day where he was like, "Yay, we had the 14th. They added 7,000 new wallets today. That's a win." I'm like, Ethereum is adding like 100,000 plus wallets a day. Bitcoin is adding like nearly a million new wallets a day. That's like nothing. That's like nothing. That's like
Exactly.
congratulations, but that's peanuts compared to everybody else. So like on the decentralization of the supply, on the validator nodes, on the size of the ecosystem, on the TVL, on the number of transactions going across, on the active users, on the developers in the ecosystem, all of these things, Ethereum is winning. And I don't want to give all this attention to Ethereum because I like other blockchains too. Like I'm not a maximalist for Ethereum or
Facts.
Bitcoin. I'm chain agnostic. I've deployed capital in more than 20 plus blockchains. But if we're putting apples to oranges and it's like, oh, XRP versus like something like, I'm like, well, here's an example of something that's like beating the crap out of it. And like, if we're being objective, like it's not winning, it needs to catch up. And I don't think it's ever going to actually catch up if the community doesn't get more realistic about what it needs to improve on. Like I just saw the other day, it was their side chain was like making a joke about Bitcoin, and they were like, "Haha, this meme that the Bitcoin account posted like aged so well." And I'm like, "Why don't you guys focus on your own volume? Your exchanges have like $5,000 of volume a day for an entire blockchain. That's pitiful. Like incentivize your blockchain and get some liquidity over here before I move my money off." Like, but
Exactly.
but those conversations aren't being had enough. People are like in the comments clapping it up like, "Oh, it's so good. We got a wormhole partnership now." It's like it's an integration. It's not a partnership. But like, man,
And I'll say this, okay? And there's a lot of people in the chat that were like, I'm not buying XRP anymore, blah, blah, blah. I got turned off to it. And then it ran up and they were salty about it. I never said that XRP won't go up and won't make you money. The narrative behind XRP is so phenomenal. And the cult like following for it is just beyond what I've ever seen before in crypto. And one thing that I've noticed is a lot of people that are in XRP are religious. And so they treat this almost like a religion. And because of that, it's going to do phenomenal numbers. It's going to go crazy. And Ripple's going to make a lot of money dumping on those people. Right. And the fact of the matter is that a lot of those people will not sell if it hit even $25 because it's not the price that they're being fed with the moon cheese. They're waiting for that $1,000, $10K, $100K price that's probably never going to come. And I think that's why the narrative is those numbers, is to get retail to buy and hold forever, to keep it from being sold, to keep it running up. But that doesn't mean that you won't be able to make money off this thing. The narrative is just ridiculous. And that's why I still trade it. But I trade it because I know it's going to swing very volatilely because of the people buying it and holding it forever, and the people and then Ripple selling off on it, and it's going to make it swing, which is beautiful. That's what you want in crypto, right? That's how we get money here. But at what cost? Somebody has to lose, right? Somebody has to lose. And that's what I'm trying to educate people, is that just because there's a narrative there doesn't mean that the narrative is true, but it doesn't mean that you can't make money from it.
I would say, and this is a really probably not the greatest thing, and I'm not using this as a debate, but just for a factual point, Ethereum was actually formally developed and it began through a Swiss company. And right now, through our current administration, I don't see any chance that a company that is not from the US would basically be adopted. And like for many good reasons. I mean, you already see Trump coming after every single other country with these tariffs, and everything is going to be US prioritized. US companies are going to be prioritized. So, not that that's a strong argument, but it is one. And at the end of the day, if, going back to which is safer or more secure, Ethereum or XRP, I would still say smart contracts are never safer than what XRP has right now. And when you want to argue, well, yeah, but it's not as decentralized, banks don't really care if it's decentralized. They've always been pro centralization. So they're not really going to be like, oh, well, I want to use Ethereum because it's more decentralized, because banks don't care about that. And at the same time, the fact that they can validate transactions while the transactions are being made and not after makes them a lot safer.
To that argument, like because that's like similar to like why a Bitcoin maxi likes Bitcoin and they don't want to introduce more smart contract ledger to, or logic, excuse me, to Bitcoin, right? Because they don't want to expose Bitcoin to all these like vulnerabilities. Like you enter more logic into the equation, there's more opportunity for people to get smart and create things that expose your ecosystem. So yes, that's part of like why these blockchains aren't fully Turing complete in terms of XRPL and Bitcoin. However, if we're just talking about like straight up like transactions, like going peer to peer, wallet to wallet, you're not interacting with a smart contract. That's something different, and that's that ability on your blockchain, but you're not sending your money necessarily through a smart contract. That's just more opportunity for your blockchain. It's having more programmability options. So like I hear that argument that you were making, but I'm also like, well, there's a reason why XRP keeps trying to, or XRPL say, keeps trying to advance, or is made the side chain to begin with, or is working with Flare to begin with, because they realize that they do need that programmability, um, even if
Right.
that isn't the like with all the transactions, the basic level peer to peer like type of transactions are going through.
Yeah, I wanted to ask Revolution. I sent a video in the general group chat, which is from a German financial company talking about Ripple, which I thought was really interesting.
Was it on X? Was in the Discord or on X? Where was it?
I sent the video like in the general group chat.
Okay, I don't always get them, so I'd have to look into it because I'm not trying to be mean, but anytime it says X, I don't really read it. So I will look into it when I can because I don't have Discord on here while I'm on my phone.
Let me see. I could probably pull it up. It's in the general.
Yeah.
And do you know when you
It's
sent
above my
it?
comment.
Is it recent?
Yeah, it's right above my wave comment.
Oh, is this the one that says Josh at Revolution?
Yeah.
This video? Let's take a gander.
Der zeitliche Druck, so schnell wie möglich etwas zu tun gegen diesen drohenden Kollaps. Und da wird man natürlich auf das zurückgreifen, was da ist. Ripple ist da mit seinem Angebot, und wenn die Zeit für Ripple spielt, dann kann Ripple durchaus die World Reserve Bridge Currency werden. Und wenn das der Fall ist, dann kann man das hier streichen und eine 4 oder eine 5 hinmachen.
So he's basically saying Ripple can become the world bridge currency.
Yeah, I mean, at the end there, he also said that it could be a 4 to 5 digit price, which is what I was saying. Like, even people in Europe are looking more towards the XRPL. It just depends on like who you're going to. But
Who is this guy? Anyone can
I
say
don't
that.
I don't exactly know who he is, but I could probably find so many other articles and companies and videos of like these similar high net worth people talking about.
How much you want to bet he holds XRP?
Well, I mean,
That
yeah,
part.
he obviously holds it, but I don't see why he wouldn't.
He served me food in Germany last time I was there. Oh my God. We don't know who this guy is. We don't know who he represents. So I wouldn't say that this is a valid source.
I mean, I was just like putting it like as a general idea because I mean, even if we went like back and forth on this like all day, like even if you ask AI, there's like an actual reality in where a high price on XRP is definitely plausible. Like,
UB says I have info for that. I'm from the EU. UB, if you want to jump in Discord and get in the debate, you're more than welcome to come up. I can't bring you up on the live with TikTok because it'll rug Jesse.
To Josh, like, what do you have to get to with the AI for it to go, okay, yeah, that's more probable. This is a likely outcome that XRP would reach these 4 to 5 digits.
that's actually an interesting question. I don't think I ever go too deep into it, but I just kind of ask it general questions. Like, here, let me actually. I wonder if there's a way that I can share this because I just did this recently. Actually, my last conversation, which I think as we said we were going to talk about this, but my last conversation with AI was about the cycles. How I told you I don't think we're going to see a bear cycle anymore because I said it was unrealistic for BlackRock, MicroStrategy, and all these other people to dump their Bitcoin. And the fact that even if they tried to create a bear market, people would buy up these dips so quickly, it wouldn't really even be a bear market. So I got into that, and then I was asking it about like XRP, and I asked AI from a non-biased perspective if it thinks CBDCs or XRP are more likely to be adopted to settle these trillions of dollars in transactions. And it said, due to the fact that Trump is anti-CBDC, it's leading towards XRP. And that's like literally like the greatest
Could
thing.
you could you expand it then past that? 'Cause I get that, but like I feel like even when you're like asking a question like that, you're giving it 2 options versus being a little bit more objective and giving it the full optionality of what's available in crypto and what we see actually being practiced.
Like, do you have like examples of like other ones you'd want to also have in
Like
that list?
an example would be like throwing any other cryptocurrency or blockchain that's
Right,
faster
right.
or cheaper than XRP into the equation. Throwing just straight up stable coins into the equation. There's a stable coin for like all these different countries. Like they all have their own stable coins at this point, as well as we have USD peg stable coins. There's a Euro peg stable coin. There's a Brazilian Reals peg stable coin. Those Juan peg stablecoin. I would throw them all into the. I wouldn't limit it to only 2 options, and then be like, well, it picked my one option of the 2 options. I would give it all of the options.
Right. I'm not opposed to that. Again, I'm just more leading to the fact that like Ripple and XRP is a US company, and especially here in the United States, that's what they're going to prioritize. And it has the capability to do it. So it's just kind of a matter of fact on who they basically choose for it. And I'm just betting on the fact that that's going to be Ripple. And I don't think I could give a deeper explanation than that.
I would like my last, and then I'll like leave the floor to Oz, or you can go ahead again. But I'd be like, my pushback would be like, we chose gold, like the United States and the world at some point chose gold. Like, and gold isn't owned by like it's not a company, especially a centralized company. I think that like weighs into things a lot more than you're like giving credit to. I don't think anybody wants to give any one centralized company control of the world. Probably
Facts.
not going to happen. Like that's very, very, very unlikely that any other country, especially, is going to like forget the United States. Like probably not the United States too. Like there's a reason why we have a treasury and a Federal Reserve. That like there's a reason things are split up the way they are in some form of decentralization, even though it's very centralized. Like they still try to make it somewhat decentralized, even in that aspect. And like what you're suggesting is let's give it all to this company. Like I don't think so. And also historically, to my point with gold, we chose gold before, and gold isn't owned by one company or one country, and gold isn't primarily in the United States. You like mine it like other countries like more gold than the United States. And we chose that before. So I don't know that giving United States based companies all this credit as like, well, because it's a US based company, then that's going to be the option. I think to our earlier argument, the stability, the security is going to factor in a lot more than it being owned by any one country. And that's partially why Bitcoin, like other than first movers advantage, like first movers advantage alone, if Bitcoin wasn't more secure than all these other blockchains and stablecoin or not stablecoins and meme coins and altcoins and whatever else, then we wouldn't be talking about it like we do today. They'd be like, all right, it was cool, but Litecoin is superior. Like it's just vastly superior. And so that would be the conversational topic.
I think like I could give you a really good counter argument, and basically when I talked about this before with Grok too, but I do want to answer your first question.
With Grok.
What I I told basically when I asked it around like the $10,000 XRP price, the only thing that I said is that the XRP's circulating supply does not limit it if enough demand comes from people buying it in institutions. And that's where it agreed that it's unrealistic to say that that supply is too much to get bought up. And then to counteract what you said about it being centralized, or you said decentralized, yeah. So Federal Reserve, I think that they're going to get rid of it, to be honest. If not, they're going to appoint somebody new. And then the other thing that I asked, where you said with gold, is I think we should get a new U.S. dollar that's backed by gold. That's one thing. And then two, if every country wants their own CBDC, and the reason why, like even with the U.S. dollar, these other countries they don't like it because it's the U.S. dollar, right? Like you could argue China doesn't like the US dollar currently being, you could say, the leading currency. And so if every country has their own CBDC or their own, stable coin that runs for their country, then you could basically have XRP connect them all to trade seamlessly. So it's less about giving XRP, like XRP becoming the main thing that everybody uses to pay with, but more of a way to connect every single country's asset, which in turn would actually make it less centralized and more decentralized because it could allow every country to use their own types of technology, currency, and it doesn't even need to be crypto. Like the XRPL can interact with different, how do you say this? Like
But
different
the XR,
technologies.
but as we talked about earlier, it wouldn't be the XRPL necessarily connecting to all these things. Otherwise, the XRPL would be connecting itself to Ethereum and to the Cosmos ecosystem and all these other blockchains, but it wasn't able to without a sidechain. It doesn't have the programmability to do so. It's not Turing complete, similar like Bitcoin as we discussed earlier. And so like it can do a lot of things, but I don't think to the degree that you're like giving it credit to.
I think
Right.
more like
And I
liquidity.
also just wouldn't like I will also again like I wouldn't limit it to just XRP being able to do these. Like I think like yeah, possible, but like of all the options and like of what we see adopted on like from blockchain technology, it's got to like forget price. Like price of an asset is one thing. There's other tokens. I'm sure other people don't necessarily know this, but did you know there's another token out there that's worth $95,000 right now? And I'm not talking about YFI, but YFI was, approaching $90,000 like last cycle. There's tokens out there that have extremely high valuations. That doesn't necessarily matter. That the price of an asset doesn't matter. It going up whatever percent doesn't matter. Like the true adoption of that blockchain, of that ecosystem, how much money is there to be used, those things matter more.
Right.
I agree.
I think
And all the things that you're saying, Josh, like let's just say that all that happens. Let's just feed into the moon cheese for a minute, right? None of that necessarily indicates these crazy prices that you're talking about. Because let's say mass adoption for XRP, it's still not going to go to 10K. It's like XRP is like trying to fill a bucket with no bottom in it. The liquidity doesn't stay in XRP; it flows through it. What do you think about that? Oh, hold on, I want to see where MMG.
He's gone right
So.
now.
Oh,
He said he's
okay.
going to be back.
Got you. Brooke is here. She's not happy. Hi, Brooke. How you doing?
Yeah, we should get Brooke in here too.
I'd love to have Brooke. Brooke, if you want to come and yell at me, come on Discord and join the lounge voice chat. And we're on Discord doing that so that way we don't have to rug Jesse. Hi Jesse, how are you?
Good. We're having our own conversation listening to you guys.
That's awesome. Make sure you follow Jessie. Jessie has her own live going on, and she's doing a more political type show. And so make sure you give her a follow. Go check her out. She's a cute one.
Can I say something real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
And I know this generation is very different from our generation, but the more you talk to these AI things and you bring up specific things, it feeds its algorithm and will feed you back specific things it knows you want to hear, whether they are probably true or probably not true. And we did a test case with Oz's computer, and the more he pushed a certain thing, the more it started giving him what he wanted to see.
Exactly.
So be very careful. Have one account where you do it, and another account that is so just out of left field, and see if you get the same answers, because more times than not, you just don't.
AI tells you what you want to hear.
And it doesn't mean it's not true. It just means it's conflated.
And I do want to, before we continue, I do want to state, like, again, I'm not bearish on XRP.
Same. I'm not bearish at all.
I think it'll go up. I think, like, again, like when most people talk to me, I'm like, I think a 5x is possible. That's 500% within, like, I think that's possible within a year's time. 500%. What I don't think is possible is 300x. I don't think that's possible.
Well, they're saying more than 300x.
Facts.
Well, I think it's around like 300x just to get to like the 1,000 like price range or so. But I'm like, that's like, guys, like if you were to ask your GPT today, like ask it what top 10 cryptocurrencies or assets in general, stocks or crypto, has done a 300x being in the top 10 spot already.
But also at the same time, which cryptocurrency has ever settled trillions of dollars a day? So that's basically like the weight that you're like balancing in between.
I don't think it's going to settle trillions a day.
I don't think it's going to do that. I'm like, that's like extreme speculation. It's just like it's never even handled that like anywhere near that amount of money. So like I hear that, and I'm like, that's interesting speculation, but it's not battle tested as we like talked about before, where people were like, they like to, and like I've been just as negative on Solana at times as anybody else, but like it's one of the more battle tested blockchains at this point. When Solana goes down, it's because it's handling more transactions, more volume than any other. Like XRPL has never done that. Like you don't know that we just straight up don't know that if it starts to handle even a fraction of the volume that Solana has handled, that it doesn't just crash. It's never been tested like that. And I don't think major like big money is willing to just like throw it all at this thing and be like, well, it's never been tested like that, but let's try this one right now.
Right.
I think if anything, it's super incremental, and like we can all watch it happen over time, but that incremental is not going to happen in the next year. It's not going to happen in the next 2 years. It's not going to happen next 3. It's going to take a while.
That's what I like what Brooke just put in chat. Like they are testing it. They've been testing on the private ledger. So like I don't agree with anybody who says that, because
I didn't say
like,
they aren't testing up to the degree that we're talking about. You think they're doing more money than we're seeing on Solana?
I think they're like the price has already been like leaked on the thing. It was like upwards of $130,000 last I checked.
First of all, let me reel that one in. Okay. The private ledger thing, yes, they are testing and they are doing all that, but those numbers have not been confirmed that that's the transactions that they're facilitating. The official story is these were glitches, and it's not just happened with XRP, it's happened with Bitcoin, it's happened with Ethereum. They're just glitches.
I'm not talking about like the actual glitches on regular XRP lists and on exchanges. So I'm more about like the private ledger.
I do agree with Brooke. Solana is a very different use case. I agree with that
Right.
100%. And I think all these different blockchains are going to facilitate different use cases, but that doesn't mean that XRPL is going to facilitate Swift. Okay? That's what I'm trying to say. It could, but it's kind of a reach right now just to even speculate that.
Right. I mean, like it is a reach, but at the end of the day, like that's based off of the research that we've all done. Like even Brooke has said in chat, like trillions easy, right? And it's like it just depends like who you're asking. Like I've looked into stuff for years, and it's just like when I'm debating people and they go to a different topic, it's just like I don't like to go too deep into it because I don't even have to answer it that much. My consensus is just it's gonna be used, and I'm not saying other chains won't be used, but I think I made a pretty strong fact when I say other countries don't like that the fact that the US dollar is so inflationary. They don't like the fact that it's the main currency everybody's using. So the fact that every country could have their own CBDC or all these other things and the XRPL could connect with it, that's a very, very strong use case that can't just be ignored, right? Even if the US decided we're going to abolish the current US dollar and we're going to make a new one backed by gold, which I think is going to happen, which again is also speculative, but it is a possibility. And that's where everybody who is pro XRP, I'm not talking about the people who just go on Twitter and they post it's going to go to these prices. The ones that actually think about this, yes, it's speculative, but it's also not unreasonable. Like it is something that could happen, and there's actual use case to this.
I just still think that as far as XRPL goes, it's probably more or less retail that would use that for the speed and for the the low fees. But like we had said before, is institutions are going to be looking for security. Big money is going to be looking for security. The amount of fees that they pay is worth it because of the amount of money that they have at stake. So I still think that the security narrative is the real issue here. If Ripple had, the security that Ethereum had, I would lean that direction. But it doesn't. So institutional adoption for XRPL just seems unlikely right now.
Yeah, I would also like if I could make a comment on that. Like Josh stated, like, okay, well, what if all these different countries, like they all have their, you said CBDC specifically, not just stable coins, but tomato tomato to some degree. Like one just has more control.
Yeah.
But then you were like your statement was that like that they all choose to use XRPL for interoperability essentially. And like my pushback to that would be like and for that to be their only option, like number one, like you have a bunch of options, but you choose to only use one option, right? I think that would be kind of odd. The second pushback to that would be like, why would you choose specifically? Like if you have the option to use like again, Bitcoin L2s are coming and they're working on having them be trustless and have interoperability and everything else. Like so you have the most secure ecosystem with trustless, not trusted interoperability. I think that becomes really attractive, especially to big money. So like you have like these type of options and stuff coming through. Why wouldn't you choose one of these options, an Ethereum, a Bitcoin, or something like that, versus choosing a centralized United States owned company because you want to get away from the United States dollar ruling things? You're going to go to a centralized United States company, or like I say company specifically because like like possibly like RippleNet, but if you want to keep it to just the blockchain, like it's still a situation where again that company owns the vast majority of the tokens for that, so that company owns like the circulating supply essentially of that blockchain. They can inflate it whenever they want, they can make it like crazy numbers whenever they have that control. And at the end of the day, who has control over that company? The United States. And so
Brooke,
like I don't understand, like how are you escaping it if you're still giving United States so much control versus something that exists outside of that?
Brooke, hop in the Discord. Come on into the chat. come up
Yeah,
here.
I was gonna ask Brooke to elaborate on what she was.
Yeah, Brooke, come
in
up
chat.
here. UB, come up here as well, man. Go in the Discord and in the lounge where we've got a voice chat. All right, no
But
problem.
she can't.
No problem. UB, come on down. UB says major institutions are building their own L2s on Ethereum because it's safe. Exactly. Security is the next narrative. Right now, the narrative is utility. Okay. Everyone's looking for utility right now. Okay. And right now, XRP is going to do phenomenal things, and you're going to see major price movement, and you're going to make a lot of money off of it because of the narrative behind it and because of its utility, which is great. Right. But the next narrative coming will be security. And that's what this show's about, is about being ahead of the wave, thinking fourth dimensionally where things are going to go, so that way you're not buying something and get stuck holding the top of it and then it just comes right back down. This way we can get into projects that are, because we understand that security is the main thing that is going to play a role here in the future. To get into security now, well, before it's ran and done crazy phenomenal things just like XRP has. That's all I'm trying to say is if you got into SXT, which is on the Ethereum network, okay, it's the only one that does what it does. There's no other crypto, whatever you want to call it. I don't claim to be know everything about crypto, but I'll tell you this, that SXT is the only one that does off-chain data verification, and that's security. And that's also going to be interoperable with AI. And it has use case with military intelligence, storing intelligence information on the chain, but verified in a data center off the chain, which makes it secure. So that's why I'm like, okay, like SXT is going to do phenomenal things, but you're not looking at billions of dollar market cap on it. You're looking at a low coin supply, and you're looking at $100 million market cap. So when XRP runs like crazy, you made what, 20% on a bad day? On a bad day, SXT is going to give you that same return. So when it actually does run, you're looking at 30, 40, 50% returns. That's what I'm talking about. It is why get stuck in a monocular vision on one project when there's so much more to be had in this whole space. That's all I had to say.
That's
Yeah.
a good point. Before Josh says something, just good point there. Like, I think it's really important, again, to not be like, you could say tribalistic or whatever, but like to take off the blinders and to look at the entire space, and like not just the entire space for, okay, these are options, and then like outside of looking at the options, look at what's actually being built on. Look at where developers are building. Look at where the money is. Like, there's the saying, follow the money. Actually follow the money.
Absolutely. We don't have to be tribalistic in crypto, right? We don't have to be, but we've chosen to become tribalistic. And that's Cosmic Crypto likens it to the cell phone era, right? Everyone had their own different cell phone data carrier that they were, super into. And obviously one day there will be whatever is adopted and used, like iPhone or Android, right? But the issue is that what it'll come down to is real world use case. Retail is and institutions are going to choose what will be supreme based off of ease of use and based off of security and based off of what is fast, what is secure, and what is the best option out there. The market will decide. Okay. So being stuck on XRP because it's fast and it's fast and it can do all, you know, I can't think of all of it right now. Everything that everyone's saying, right? There's so many other options out there that can do what XRP does, if not better. That's all I had to say.
Brick says there's tribalism and XRP hate, but is it tribalism to like have an open mind to other ecosystems and not to just feel like one is the solution when it hasn't been adopted by all these other things? Like I get the speculation like portion of things. You can always speculate on an asset, but I feel like that's much more tribalistic to like be like I speculate on this asset and I see a future where this could happen, and so I believe that's going to be all of these I statements have to come from that. Like versus it could be any one of these, and it's maybe the one that has the most builders. It's maybe the one that has the most money on it. It's maybe the one that has the most transactions on it. All of these options that I've listed so far, and none of them are XRP.
I
So
think
I choose to keep my mind more open because of that.
my speculation is it's going to be what is the most secure. This is money we're talking about. People want their money safe. Period. They don't care how fast it can move from one place to another. They care how fast it can move there safely.
I like what Brooke put in chat there. She said, most XRP holders I talk to own many others because they understand the structure. And I would agree with that, because just because I think XRP is going to go to a high price doesn't mean I don't think any of these coins won't play a role. I think all of them will be used. I think that's the main thing that people get wrong is when I'm saying XRP could get adopted and go to these high numbers, I'm not saying that that's the only thing that's going to be used. At the end of the day, everything could have equal use. But I mean, you know, XRP could use things like Interledger. We have R3, so many of these other things. So
But a lot
I
of these
don't.
numbers that are thrown out factor that like make that not possible. Like when we use math to have these extraordinary numbers that people are throwing out, that's the counter argument. Is that for you to do that, then all the money needs to be absorbed from all these other assets. They like all need to go to zero for you to have these valuations. And then people go, well, that's not likely. Like it's probably going to be a mix of all of them. And then somebody still goes, well, it's still going to reach these high numbers because it has to. And it's like it doesn't have to. You can just do
Exactly.
more transactions. And then some other thing comes up. And like I'm just gonna go from like historical, like we like been in crypto for 8 years. We see so many like it's a joke also on the inside of crypto that like you don't make an announcement before the announcement. Like it's just like stop doing the announcements. But like we see so many announcements from XRP community. It's like if it's not this date, it was like I believe like in 2024 it was something about like early July or January, and then it moved to later, and then it moved to sometime in spring, and then it moved to July 14th, and then people were like, well, it's not July 14th, it's going to be sometime in November. That's when
November
the actual deadline.
22nd.
Yeah, now it's November 22nd. It's going to keep moving. They don't do nothing but move the needle.
Yeah.
And it's like at some point you have to take a step back. Like again, been in crypto for 8 years. So I've drank at one point I drank the XRP Kool-Aid. At one point I drank some other tokens Kool-Aid,
Same.
and I was all about that token and stuff like that. And then at some point you like snap out of it and you start to go, okay, well, wait, if there's all these quants and all this big money and all these people are like, that's just not the way to approach this. That's not like what this says. Here, read this documentation, read XRP Ledger's own documentation. Like you read all these things and it's like, okay, that makes more sense. Maybe I am being a little tribalistic when I'm just choosing this one and all be all more so.
Right.
And it all falls into line.
You know what I try to tell people is don't be a bear, don't be a bull, be a goat. All right. And what I mean by that is the bears are always trying to push it down. The bulls are always trying to push it up. The goats, all right, in this space, we ride the wave down, we ride the wave up. That's how you should be handling crypto right now. Okay. Because everyone's talking about mass adoption is happening tomorrow, or it already happened on July 14th, or it's happening November 22nd. Okay. Y'all, we're here because of volatility. That's where the money is made. Being a trader. Those of us that are buying and holding are the ones that are pretty much gambling. We're hoping, living on the hopium, that something's going to take off and we're going to have chose the right one. All based off of speculation. Right? But if we're in here and we're trading, you can literally write all of them down on a hat or on a piece of paper, put them in a hat, shake it, and pull one out, and there's money to be made if you're trading. That's the whole point of this. Otherwise, I'd be trading in the stock market. I trade in crypto because I want the volatility. I can make what I make in a year on the stock market in a matter of days here. And that's the point that I think that people don't get. They got this idea of mass adoption and this new paradigm, and all these things are happening now. That's literally the top of the cycle, is the new paradigm, the adoption. Okay? And that's the goal of what I'm trying to reach people with here, is that there's money to be made so much better and faster with any coin you pick. Any single one of them is going to be a great swing trade. Where do you guys fall on that
one? Do you have something you want to say, or?
Oh, I was trying to give you the floor.
Go ahead, Josh.
I don't know. I mean, I would still counter argue. My thing is, I don't think that all the money would have to flow into XRP for the high price. That's kind of a misconception. I don't know if that's what everybody else in the XRP army says, but based on what I've found, that's not how it would work. Just to clarify on that.
What have you found?
So basically, I could probably start the reusability, which a lot of people see as a disadvantage. But the fact that an XRP can technically be reused an unlimited number of times for transactions with, tiny fees, like, it just means that a single XRP can facilitate millions of transactions. And with that, it actually needs less capital. So you can't even put a market cap on a cryptocurrency the same way you could the stock market, because basically XRP would gain its value from its use case. So even if all the money from the other coins isn't inside XRP, the only thing that's bringing up its value is the sheer volume, the severe volume that's running over the ledger. So it never needs to be inside of it. As long as it runs over it, that alone just brings up its market cap. And there's so many other people that say it the exact same way. I mean, I've told you, like, even Jake Claver gives very clear examples of that. And I don't know how far you've looked into it, like, besides just the short clips that people have of him, but he explains it all.
Before we go any further, because I want to stop at that point, like, and I'm sure I want you to continue, but like, how does a blockchain, which was your point, then having more volume run across it, equate to that blockchain's asset then having a higher market cap? Because the two are separate. That's like saying, like, Ethereum has a ton of money moving across it. That doesn't equate to the token's market cap going up. Like you need demand for the token itself to go up for that to happen. Also, you made a point about like XRP being able to be used reusable millions of times. I agree with that. And I think that's also why I don't believe that it needs to go up to some extreme valuation, as I said earlier.
Exactly.
I'm like, if it can be reused a bunch of times, then you can do a bunch of transactions versus needing the token when people are like, well, it has to be $10,000 because that's the only way that you're like, no, there's stable coins. You just need liquidity in general on that blockchain. It doesn't have to be that blockchain's native asset. You just need liquidity. And then number one, even if you're using that token, you can, if it's so easy to move it back and forth, then you would just move it back and forth. You wouldn't buy a bunch of it. You buy $5 if that's the cheapest option you can do, and you can move all the money with $5. You're gonna do the cheapest option.
My Discord link is in my bio.
I would say the biggest thing is like it would still require more XRP if it's a lower price. So like these transactions are still using XRP to go through, but they're not holding it. It's just using the liquidity that was already there. So if you can use less XRP, it's actually faster. And David Schwartz said that himself. So it's pretty straightforward.
XRP gets its value from the people that hold it, not the liquidity that will flow through it with adoption. Okay? It's like trying to fill a bucket with no bottom in it. The moment the money goes into it, it leaves it. It happens instantaneously. So how does that drive the price up? It's a liquidity pool.
I would say, I mean, technically both would play a factor. I'm not really understanding how it would just be the holders.
It would affect the price somewhat, but it would be the splashes of drops of water that hit the side of the bucket, not the actual money flowing through it.
But like transaction volumes would still basically drive demand for XRP as a bridge asset, though. Like that's still the same concept.
I just don't see it.
Would it? Especially if like what we currently see right now is that like because your whole argument is based around like institutional adoption. After the institutions buy enough money, buy enough XRP, why do they need to keep buying more XRP? They don't. Then they have enough liquidity of XRP to make these transactions. You only need so much, like, and then you can make the transactions. Like you need, if you want to make $1 billion, then we get $100 billion, and then we don't need any more XRP. We can start making $1 billion transactions like that.
Exactly.
Right? At some point, they no longer need any more XRP, and so that factors out like the volume thing. Like if we're just talking about like demand and that type of institutional buying for that purpose,
And
then
people,
it has a ceiling. And then I'll give this to Oz really quickly. But then like we're constantly seeing that like retail, by and large, doesn't use XRP. They don't actually use the blockchain. They don't use the EVM side chain. They don't use other blockchains. they they don't use these chains, but these other ecosystems do have that more so. So I'm just like, I don't think it's going to come from retail.
They act like, okay, it's going to be trillions of dollars, if not quadrillions of dollars flowing through it. What makes you think that these institutions or banks or Swift or whatever is only going to use the XRPL? You know, like mass adoption is not just going to be with XRPL. By that time, there's going to be so many different options. Some will use it, but we're not talking about all of it going through one pipeline. Think of it like water flowing, okay? That's what I'm trying. The analogy is water, okay? Right now, the water faucet is not turned on. It's just dripping out of it, right? Eventually, the water faucet will turn on, but it's not going to go through one hose. It's going to be, you know, one of those 4-way valves with multiple different hoses going from this place to that place, and with other hose attachments that take it to other places, all throughout the entire garden. It all comes from one spigot, possibly, or even multiple spigots, but it's not one hose being used.
I think the main thing is like demand would still outstrip like supply. So if you have ETFs, obviously, and you have all these people holding it, then realistically, even though it can be used in a limited number of times, the fact that people are holding it and the fact that there's volume on it, and then you can also put real estate on it, all these other things, like XRP has so many use cases. So I still, like, we could go back and forth on this, but to be completely honest, throughout our whole conversation, I still haven't really shifted my opinion just because, you know, if I talk to somebody like Brooke about it, we would understand the same points that we're relaying. Whereas if you were talking to somebody who has counter arguments would say the same thing. So
My thing is
to our first point earlier, you still believe XRP Ledger is more decentralized than an Ethereum or a Bitcoin, right?
I think it's safer.
Well, that would be in like its decentralization would make it safer. Like, because again, like
Yeah,
the peer-to-peer payment system is what it is. You don't have to use smart contracts. That's an option that people have on those chains.
I'm thinking they don't use smart contracts, is what I'm saying.
Do, 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 do.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, it just depends who you talk to about this. I think it would be really cool, and I know Oz might hate this, but if we had Jay Claver come in here and debate Oz, that would be something cool to watch.
I'd love to have him come on. Have him on.
We should figure out a way how to do it.
I
Because-
tell people that I don't claim to know everything about crypto, but what I see is the reality of these situations, that a lot of this is just pipe dreams. Okay? And you can come up with every kind of avenue for speculation, but the reality is that what we've seen happen in the past? It's understanding the past to predict the future. Have we ever seen anything like that happen in the past? No, that's just not how the world works. So thinking that XRP is going to take over everything and so that it reaches these numbers, yes, there's probably a situation where you could come up with any kind of speculation to create a narrative that fits your price that you're looking for. That doesn't mean that that's exactly what's going to happen. And that's where I'm with it. Is like, it seems a little too good to be true. And maybe it does. Fine. I'd be happy with $10. Great. $5. Great. But holding on to something, waiting for something that's going to be super crazy is a disservice to people, because the real people that are making it in crypto are the ones trading it. There are a few people who have gotten lucky. That's what I'm trying to say. It's not about rolling the dice over here with me. For me, it's about creating wealth and doing it as fast as possible for everyone. Is XRP crashing? Kind of. It's coming back to about $3, maybe $3.04.
I mean, even like Brooke said, most like their actual XRP holders, they hold everything. They hold XLM, they hold XDC. A lot of them hold Quant, which Quant is actually great because it has half the supply that Bitcoin has. Like, we're not really placing all our eggs in one basket.
But they're all just
And-
holding.
And it's also a very similar narrative. Like it's almost like I call it like the X basket personally. 'Cause I'm
Yeah.
like, it's like almost like they all got attracted to the X name. They must be the same. It's like XDC, XLM, XRP, and then you get like HBAR, and they're all to some degree more centralized projects in the space versus like the more decentralized projects.
They all serve different use cases, though. Like, if you
Honestly,
look in,
I like XLM better than XRP. I think XLM is going to do far more than XRP will.
It does more numbers, has more daily active users, has more institutions are actually building on it and using it. And instead of like, because they have a similar like type of setup with their consensus, but instead this one's run by a nonprofit.
Exactly.
I like that.
You don't
much more.
have Ripple dumping on it every month. That
I mean,
money,
I don't really, yeah.
that liquidity that's extracted from XRP every month goes right to Ripple. Whereas in XLM, it goes to you. Those who are trading it. That's the
I mean,
difference.
I hold XLM personally.
Right, but what I'm trying to say is like, when you're just holding, right? You're holding and you're hoping. You're on Hopium. You're hoping that you pick the right one, that your lottery ticket is gonna hit. All right? Your lottery ticket doesn't have to hit if you're trading. And that's why I'm teaching the TA class. I'm teaching people how to trade. And that's why I'm offering the deluxe subscriptions, because if they don't have the time to learn to do it themselves, I'll do it for them. because you don't have to pick the right one. You can pick any single one of them and you're going to do well. That's what I'm trying to teach here. That's what I'm the fact that I'm trying to shill out, I guess, is that you can get rich guaranteed with crypto if you're doing it right. It's a guarantee so long as it stays volatile like this. You don't have to hope.
Similar to like Oz's like pitch for like why trading. Like that's why I fall more toward like blockchains with not just decentralized DeFi, so decentralized finance. And I would be that much more interested in XRP Ledger if it had like decentralized finance projects that like actually did anything or like had any real like yields on them. Like when you look at it, it's like sologenic yields are like pathetic. It's not comparable to anywhere else in the space. You can get that like anywhere else times 10. So like you don't see it there. You don't see this many builders and stuff like that in that over there. And like over the years, you have to start to question like similar to like the just straight up volatility like question. You'd be like, okay, well, why aren't they building over here? Why don't I have that opportunity here? And I have that opportunity on all these other blockchains. And like that portion of things like makes me go, okay, there's something going on. If I have that opportunity on Sui, on Tron, on Solana, on Ethereum, more so on XLM, even though the yields are great over there, but I have it on all these other chains. They're starting to build those opportunities on Bitcoin, and they still don't exist on XRP. I just have to hold my token and pray. Like I'm going to choose one of these other options to make a bunch of money.
Exactly. With SXT, if you're going to buy and hold that one, you're going to do way better than if you buy and hold XRP. But you don't have to. You can swing trade it.
I mean, just like a counter argument, not that trading is bad or anything, but a lot of people also aren't that into it. So like you could be out of a trade and the asset gains adoption all of a sudden and you're out of that trade when that happens, then you're locked out. So there's where those issues come from. And also like me saying I think XRP is going to go up. I also hold XLM. I hold these other assets that I also think are going to get adopted because we're leaning more towards crypto being adopted as a whole. So I don't really think it's a one-sided thing, to be honest.
But that's
I
just
mean,
greed. That's just greed and hopium. Right?
is it though? I mean, like if I'm saying,
yeah, because you're like, oh man, I missed out on adoption. Something else is going to come along. Okay, that's what I'm trying to say is you're looking for a winning lottery ticket, and you're locking up your liquidity.
but like Apple, for example, if you invest into Apple now than before when they first blew up, that's a huge difference in returns.
But
Like
you
if
had
I
to
invest
know that Apple was going to do something, and
right, which
no
is the
one
same
knew.
as
No one knew who it was going to be. There are just some that chose it, and they had the winning lottery ticket. Same thing here with XRP.
a lot of people knew
you
what
can
Apple was going to do.
Yeah, but even it, you can know what something's going to do. Even if XRP does get adopted, and you got out too early, if you're not being greedy and you're taking profits, you're at least securing your wealth. Greed is what burns people here in this space.
I mean, I guess it would just be different if we're looking in terms of like adoption, because like like crypto isn't really being adopted like at that scale, so like it still doesn't exactly make sense. Like I'll be the first to say I don't really like Ethereum, but can it hit $42,000 within a year or two? Absolutely. Like
Honestly, I think it could hit 5K, maybe even 10 by 2030.
Yeah, I think that's possible, and I think like to the adoption conversation, like yeah, like crypto as a whole isn't like totally like adopted. We haven't had our point where like yes, the entire world is using cryptocurrency, but we do have blockchains that are more adopted than other ones. Like that's something that we can look at data for. Like we look at Bitcoin, there's a lot of active addresses on Bitcoin. We look at Ethereum, there's a lot of active addresses on Ethereum. We look at Solana. Solana currently, I believe, has the most active daily addresses. Like shortly down that list is XLM. They have a lot of daily active addresses doing remittances. stuff. Like Tron has a lot of daily active addresses. It takes us a while to get to XRP. It's something like its average, I believe, for the year is something like 20,000 daily active addresses compared to other blockchains that are in the 100,000.
Exactly.
It's just like it's behind the party. And like I get that a lot of people hold it on exchanges and are waiting for it and stuff like that, but like that's my point. Like it's not being adopted on chain. Those people, like, people on chain, like even if they do go, they're not using it for its like actual like DeFi like uses. Like, so you can say it's a decentralized blockchain or whatever. Nobody's using it for those purposes. It's not being used.
Yeah,
It just does
Follow
not
the
have that
money.
adoption.
Follow the money. Where's the money?
And it could change someday. I won't say that it can't change someday.
Absolutely.
But like I will, because like I changed my mind on Solana. Like I was like, all right, well, change this thing up. They're more centralized, and eventually they change things up. I'm like, okay, cool. And like I need to see more than it just being like an NFT space. Cool. They started building more DeFi applications on Solana. I will change my tune. I have not seen these things from XRP, and I don't think like, number one, I don't think Ripple does it a very good like service. They do a disservice when they don't like, correct the community in certain things and like actually help educate them, which they should be doing,
And
in
that's
my
because
opinion.
Ripple
And
has
then the
everything
community
to
hurts.
gain from that. That's why the
Truly.
narrative has been created and pushed the way it's been pushed.
Yeah, I think so. And then yeah, the community doesn't like, because of these reasons they just like I feel like a lot of people are like, I did research, and it's like, okay, you read an opinion article, or you listen to somebody talk about their opinion on YouTube, and their
Or
their
on
version of
X.
speculation. Yeah, their speculation on this or that. And like, when I consider research is like looking at data, like actually going through the documentation to figure out how it's supposed to work. Like, how is that new application going to work, and what else does it work with? These are things that I would consider more toward like actual research versus like somebody's opinion on whatever. Data and what's actually happening is what I would consider research, and like what's the trend that you see from that data.
Absolutely. And that's why I've been more like, you know what, Solana. Solana is going to do something phenomenal as well.
I mean,
It
yeah,
doesn't
as
even
much as I
have.
did not like it.
Yeah, I didn't like it
Totally.
at first. I was like, oh, that's going to be where all the collectibles are at, right? It's going to be the collectible blockchain. And it very well could end up falling into that niche. It pretty much already has. But that doesn't mean that it's not going to do something phenomenal. XRP doesn't mean that it's not going to do something phenomenal because the narrative behind it. But like MMG said, I'm looking at real use case. And I see XRP and I'm like, why would I buy XRP when I can buy XLM? Why would I buy XRP when I could buy something that doesn't have a crazy market cap already and a low coin supply? There's so many more options. But most of the retail is low information, uneducated, and force fed the moon cheese through the algorithms, through the social media, which is the only reason why it's doing what it's doing. There's no actual real use case that's causing these prices to go up.
Right. I mean, I was the first person to say that on your live the other day ago that all the recent price appreciation hasn't been towards utility. But that's why it's like I'm over here fighting for the fact, like, I'm not even trying to convince people to really buy. I just have a deeper understanding that other people just can't seem to see. And it's like, yeah, like right now there's no utility on it, but that doesn't factor out the fact that it has it. It's not being used, but it has it. And when it's being used, like besides what other people say, there is 100% a chance that it's going to be a high value. I don't see why it wouldn't. Like all this global adoption, I don't even think it's going to take 50 years. It doesn't even make sense that way. Like that's like being an XRP maxi that disagrees with the people who think it's going to go up to a high price in a short term, but say, well, XRP is going to be worth $8,000 by 2070. That doesn't even make sense. That's like saying one bank is going to use XRP and another bank is going to use it 7 years down the line from that. Like the slow appreciation model doesn't work the same way for Bitcoin. That's why I don't think we're going to see a bear market for Bitcoin, because why would they sell Bitcoin if somebody else is going to come in eat their position up at $50,000 per Bitcoin when they could just keep loaning against it and bringing it up and using it as a store of value like they're marketing to everybody right now.
MMG, you got anything to say on that?
Yeah, I started to type something because I wanted to get the specific numbers, but I'll just mention it like off the top of my head. And it's kind of it's somewhat related to that what Josh just said. And Josh, I didn't get like I feel like I drifted in and out, so correct me where if I fall flat on this. But somebody mentioned in chat also that like we're here for what did he say? It's like we're here for the real wealth, like not like chump change. I think it was. Yeah, we're here for real wealth, not chump change. I think that's his argument for like
That
why
comes from
XRP.
trading.
Yeah, that why and yeah, I would argue Oz's point. I say yes, that versus like what this person is more so assuming from XRP, where like again it has this narrative that like, well, if you choose this one, it's going to outperform all the other ones by so much. And like, do I agree it'll likely outperform Bitcoin and Ethereum? Yes. Partially because like the market cap is smaller. So I think that like in like general like supply and demand and market cap and like so it makes sense that the lower market cap token would outperform larger market cap token. So I would say, yeah, sure there. But do I think it's going to be some massive outperformance? No, I don't think so. And like this number has probably changed, and this is why I was going to look for the specifics on it. But when you like earlier this year when I had gone back and I had looked at, and it's like only like within like the last few months, when I had gone back and I had looked at the price appreciation of XRP, Ethereum, Solana, and Bitcoin from the bottom of the market in 2022, Solana had outperformed everybody. Solana was the best performing asset from the bottom of the bear market, not XRP. XRP had outperformed Bitcoin by a little over 100%. However, like a little over 100, and they both went up. It was like something like Bitcoin went up like 500%, XRP went up like 620% or something like that from the bottom of the bear. It was some type of numbers like that. However, the narrative on TikTok and a lot of influencers like to push to you is that like, oh, it's definitely way outperforming Bitcoin. They can't catch up to it. You're just going to waste your money, put it in this other asset. Meanwhile, they were all around the same, like give or take this 100%.
Exactly.
But like that's the number one asset. You could have gone with number one overall, done no thinking, and still made out like a bandit. But the narrative being pushed to you is that like if you don't choose this one, you're going to miss it all. And it's like that's just not been the case, and it hasn't been the case historically as well. When we go back 5 years, it's also not the case. I'm looking at price performance over the last 5 years, and this is a little bit more distorted now because like we do have that most recent run up again. So I'm not looking at like a shorter time frame, but this is even Bitcoin 111,000%. Ethereum same. So 1,200%. I should say 1,100%, 1,200%, XRP 1,400%. You would think with the narrative being pushed that XRP is at least 2x more than these other ones, not just inching above them. But it's just not the case. That's just not historically what it's been. And it's partially because they're all large caps. They're all mega caps. These are the biggest market caps in them. Like it takes a lot to move these. And when they move, they typically move together. Like they might run at different times, but you don't get that much difference. Like for one of them to like all of a sudden, for us to get the numbers that people are pushing, again, like not just the 5x, where I'm like, because like that's like, do I think Bitcoin's going to do a 5x this cycle? I don't think so. I think a 2x is maybe in the cards. Maybe. I don't even know about that, right? We've already moved up so much. So that 2x is already partially played out. Same thing for though I think a 5x is more likely from Ethereum. Cool. Yeah. We're moving down the line of market cap though. And so yeah, it's more likely for that one than the higher market cap. And then we would look at XRP. Do I think that 5x is that's the one where I give the most credit to the potential for a 5x. I'm like, sure, we've moved down that much more. This has way more potential to do that 5x. However, where I start to call BS is at a 300x. I'm like, no,
Absolutely.
it's not going to do a 300x, guys. We've never seen a 300x of any asset in a year's time. Period. It's not about to happen with this one, not from a top 10 asset in any market. It's no.
Exactly. And you have to understand the way the money works in Bitcoin, Ethereum, all these different different cryptocurrencies. is it flows into Bitcoin, it flows into Ethereum, it flows into the other alts, and then it flows into the meme coins, and then it comes back around. And that's the cycle that we talk about, the bull cycle. But that cycle happens over and over and over. So you can buy Bitcoin, then trade it to Ethereum, then trade it to XRP, and then trade it to HBAR, then trade it to Algo, and then trade it to SXT, and then trade it to meme coins, and then back around. When you're trading it, you're just exponentially doubling the X's that you can rack up. This was meant to be traded, not bought and held. That's why we're here. We want to be rich, right?
I would just say with Bitcoin, uh, trying to time Bitcoin hasn't really been that beneficial for people up overall because anybody who's bought at any point in the chart is currently up. So, and like also the thing with Bitcoin is I don't think it's done this cycle because we're gonna have a huge supply crunch because a lot of the correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure we're at like 19 million circulating supply. We're approaching 20, and then they won't get done with mining the last Bitcoin for a long, long time from now. So we're going to reach a point very soon here where there isn't Bitcoin left, and it would cause the scarcity to push it up dramatic numbers. And I actually ran these numbers through, and if every single or a huge chunk, I think it was 30, if 30,000 millionaires out of the 22 million we have in the US all of a sudden decided they wanted to buy Bitcoin, all the supply would be gone and it would shoot up to incremental numbers. And that could genuinely still happen this cycle. I don't even want to put this cycle into it because I don't think we're getting cycles anymore. I don't think seeing Bitcoin dump is realistic. It just doesn't make sense to me. But when you're looking at the same thing, it's like, especially for XRP, the only reason why I'm holding it is because I got in so early. So for me to get out and in, it doesn't really make sense because what I believe is going to happen, it would be a rapid price jump and not something that's going out. And it's okay if people don't agree with me or like it's correct to say that it's never happened before, but that doesn't make it something that can't happen. And I'm sticking by the narrative that I have. And it's a narrative that I put together. Again, like I'm not on the side with every single other XRP maxi, but I'm accumulating multiple different tokens that I think are going to have significant price appreciation. And it's the same like the influencers who were trying to push we're going to get a bear market. They have everything to gain from a bear market and nothing to lose because they basically time it at the end of the day. It's like why would somebody sell their Bitcoin now? Because like if Bitcoin went back down to 50,000, why would somebody wait 3 years before an influencer says, okay, bear market is over, we're going to go back into a bull cycle. So Bitcoin is just going to supposed to hover at $50,000 a coin for 3 years. Like that doesn't make sense to me.
Well, let me tell you something. Okay. Crap, I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, you said you're accumulating these coins, right? For a long-term hold. Accumulation is not done in the middle of a bull cycle. It's done in the years between. All right. So now is not the time to be accumulating. Now is the time to be trading. And then once the bull cycle is over, then we go back into accumulation. And I know you think that the cycles are never going to end. That was the narrative every cycle. Okay. The bull run, I think, continues from here on out. I do have a speculation that we are going to redefine the bear cycle. Okay. And what we're going to have is we're going to have a bull cycle that runs for the next 5 years, I think, until things stabilize. But we're going to have bearish trends in there and there'll be flat zones. And this is speculative if what you're saying is right. But either way, there's going to be a time and a place for accumulation. And that's not right now. Right now is the time to be trading it, not accumulating it. That's all I'm trying to say.
But like, how would that work in a sense? Like if people took profit on Bitcoin and it went back down to 50, why would people wait to reaccumulate?
That's when you would reaccumulate, is when it drops. But trying to
Right, but it would.
accumulate XRP at $3 is not the right move. There are other things that you can accumulate that aren't running yet.
But also, it's getting more expensive. Like if I were to not
Look at
like, by the way, I
SXT, man. SXT was prime for the picking, and you bought some, right?
right,
You did amazing, right? And it hasn't even
yeah.
really ran yet. That's what I'm trying to say is those are you got to look for the right project to be an accumulation before you start accumulating. XRP has already passed that accumulation point. It was accumulated around 50 cents.
Right. And I got a lot there too, but my point is trying to like I can trade and buy these other assets, but I'm talking about Bitcoin and XRP specifically. Like people are so eager to take up positions. How do you get to the point where, for example, if XRP ran to $15 this cycle, right? Let's just hypothetically say that there was an adoption and it just ran to 15 off of the hopium that people are spreading, right? Let's just say that. Am I ever going to get an entry lower than 50 cent? That's highly doubtful. And the XRP you get
Maybe a
when you buy
dollar,
50,
maybe
and
$2.
even then is really speculative. We've touched the $2 floor so many times. And
Yeah,
once we get
it could be
ETF
$2.
approval,
It could be $2.
the
I
whole
could agree
crypto
with
market.
that, but I'm thinking more like a dollar, dude, and maybe even lower.
But that's like speculative because the whole crypto market is only 4 trillion. The stock market is 111 trillion dollars, and they're going to open the floodgates from retirement accounts and ETFs, which means I don't even think it's speculative to say trillions of dollars are going to flow into the market. So when you have that much price stability, there could be a real chance that if you take profit early, you are never going to get a better entry. And then you're just going to be buying on top of all these new people who come into crypto.
That's
And
greed.
that's why
That's
but
greed.
it's really not like it's a possibility. And that's why I'm just trying to not outweigh that
I
because
understand what you're saying. Okay, and you know we've been back and forth on this already. It is 8 o'clock, and we have to go to Twitch exclusively, so we can talk about the Epstein stuff. But I'm not discounting what you're saying. Yes, there is a possibility, but for me, that's just a lottery ticket. Okay, you don't need a lottery ticket to win in this, is all I'm trying to say, buddy. Right? And if that's how you want to play the game, I'm not saying that you're not going to make money doing it. I'm just saying you're limiting yourself. That is all. Hey, buddy. You know, I appreciate you, and I love these debates, but I got to let you go, buddy. It's 8 o'clock.
all right.
Thank you for coming on. MMG, thank you for coming on. Appreciate you
Yeah,
as
good
well.
job.
Is there any last things you want to say, MMG, before you go?
Yeah, I guess the last thing that I would say is, yeah, Oz was like talking about trading a lot and totally agree. But like more so than just trading, like, yeah, I suggest that people like take your crypto learning like past just learning about like price and charts if you have it that in you, and learn about like actual activity on chain. Because I think like once you start like actually interacting with like applications and stuff like that on chain, and you don't have to use all of your assets. You can even use test nets. So it's basically paper trading. But once you start to do that more so, I feel like you learn a lot more about the market. And it also opens you up to more opportunities. You can trade more assets. You can trade assets before they get on these exchanges. And so you're able to experience pumps before they get on the, Uphold or Coinbase or wherever else. You
Absolutely.
experience the pump before it ever gets there. And then it pumps when it gets to that platform. You're open to way more opportunities outside of that in terms of like what's available in DeFi and TradFi. You need like certain amounts of money in like in certificates and whatever else to be even eligible to use certain financial tools and investment like routes. Like in DeFi, it's all just open to you, and there's more and
Absolutely.
more coming every day. And so I would say like if you're actually like interested in crypto, you like you can always speculate on price, but like diving more into like how things work and how they work on chain, and like yeah, experimenting in that world is where the most money is to be made.
Yeah, what I say is invest in yourself before you invest in the market. Educate yourself first. Don't just listen to a creator on TikTok that's shilling you some coin. Invest in yourself, become educated, and then invest into the market. Thank you, MMG. Appreciate having you on.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
No problem. All right, that was a great debate. Revolution. Hi. So you want to promote your show real quick, and everybody go follow Jesse.
I'm usually on Wednesdays or Saturdays, and then Sundays we'll have the Queen of Chains, and that'll be, I think it'll be 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And there'll be 4 amazing, beautiful women that are going to talk about politics and crypto and all of it. So I'm really excited about that.
Awesome. And we're always happy to have you, Jesse. Thank you for being here, and thank you for all the gifts that you guys went over and sent Jesse as well. Thank you for the gifts you sent here. So many gifts.
We had a great time over here.
I saw you. You guys were having fun.
We were. Thank you guys, whoever switched over here and talked with us, and you guys are amazing, and I can't wait for the next time because that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, this was a cool way to do it. Have you on the camera here, and if you want to continue doing this, chat, how do you feel about having Jesse on the camera? Better than looking at my ugly mug, right?
This isn't an ego contest.
No, I think you're going to do phenomenal. I really do. You're going to surpass me. People will come here
I don't know
because,
anything to make people money.
yeah, they'll come here for me to line their pockets, but they'll watch your live to see your face.
Well, that's why we have both.
Yep. All right, Jesse.
All right, Twitch.
I will see you guys on Twitch. Jesse,
Bye, everybody.
do you want to get mic'd up for Twitch? How can we do that?
Yep, I'll be, I'm pretty sure I can figure it out.
Okay.
I'm like dumb, but not like dumb. So
I don't know how it works.
I'm sure I can use the
there
same
and I'm here.
microphone. I know, but I can figure it out.
All right,
It's
we'll
called
figure it out.
Google. All right.
All right, we'll figure it out.
All right.
All right.
See you over there.
Bye. And if you're not watching on Twitch, we'll be live on Twitch. That's Ozthecryptogoat, all lowercases, no spaces. Come on over. We're going to talk about things that we can't talk about on TikTok. Buy high, sell low. Yeah, that's the way to do it. Buy high, sell low if you're in a short. Make sure you come over to Twitch. That's Ozthecryptogoat, all lowercases, no spaces. We're going to talk about things that we can't say here on TikTok. It's going to be a little bit more spicy, a little more less family friendly. And if you are not trading crypto and you want to learn to trade crypto, join on Discord. We have the TA class that we're offering. I also offer one-on-one coaching for deluxe subscribers here on TikTok. So as a deluxe subscriber, you can message me directly. I will do on-demand technical analysis for any project and help you set up your wallets with your portfolios and basically nudge you in the right direction to get you profitable. Everything that I offer pays for itself, okay? And I try to keep the amounts as minimal as possible. invest into yourself and then invest into the market. And that's how you're going to become profitable very quickly. Everyone here that takes advantage of the subscriptions, takes advantage of the technical analysis class, is printing money. Start printing money. You don't have to have a winning lottery ticket. You just need to learn to trade. And you will make the money not only faster, but more of it. So if you're looking for real money, you're looking for the big money in crypto, and you're buying and holding, you're doing it wrong. So become a deluxe subscriber, join the technical analysis class, and change your life. I'll see you guys all on Twitch. Have a good night. Remember, that's Ozthecryptogoat, all lower cases, no spaces. What's up, chat? How we doing? Let's see here. So how hard is going into XRP going to crash? I mean, it's pretty much done what it's gonna do. I think there's a possibility of a head and shoulders formation right here. So that would send it back down to like 247, 265, somewhere between there. Okay, I lied. I can't figure out the microphone, but I can talk in the chat and have commercials anyway because my boss is cheap and won't pay for the ad free. If you have Amazon Prime, you can get a free subscription through your Amazon Prime. I believe everyone has Amazon Prime. Can I be completely honest with you? No, absolutely not. Just kidding. Go ahead. I don't have Amazon Prime. Well, you can always just subscribe on Twitch as well. I will buy my deluxe tomorrow. Nice. Yeah, get the deluxe subscription. Take advantage of it. And remember, you get out of it what you put into it. All right. I have other people I'm coaching as well. So you have to, you know, message me and conversate with me, and it's not something that happens overnight. But it does happen, and it does happen quickly. And I'll tell you what, like the TA class, man, TA class is legit. You guys are going to learn a lot from there. I don't have Amazon. You need to cut those boys off after an hour because you guys were talking in circles and it was just going on, and you didn't do any TA, didn't go Uber over any news, and you have a set time limit to be aware of time. Yeah, you're right. Big Baller just gifted a tier 1 sub to Paul. Thank you, Big Baller. How do I send a sub to Jesse? I think you have to select Jesse's name when you go to gift a sub. Gift some subscriptions, guys. Help support the channel. Remember, when you guys send those subscriptions, that money goes to Jesse. To everyone who was on my side of the live and kept me entertained and we laughed and had fun, I appreciate you. Oh, Jesse. And look, Big Baller just gifted you a subscription. There you go, Jesse. You are locked in. See, Jesse, your boss did pay for a subscription for you. Jesse says thank you. And Big Baller, you never called me, bro. You got to call me tomorrow. We got to talk about some stuff. I got busy. Sorry I didn't call you, but when my phone rings, I'll answer it. All right, and we'll do some technical analysis because the Epstein stuff there's not too much to go over, but we want to stay informed on what's going on with this because this is a big deal, man. I think this is the biggest deal. Children matter, right? And we need to do everything that we can to keep this relevant and keep people talking about it and fighting about it, because so long as it's being talked about here on the internet, they can't hide it. So Trump's deputy attorney general says he will meet with Elaine Maxwell again tomorrow. So Deputy General Todd Blanche said he will continue his interview with Ghislaine Maxwell tomorrow. Today I met with Ghislaine Maxwell and I will continue my interview with her tomorrow. He said in a post on X, the Department of Justice will share additional information about what we learned at the appropriate time. So they're interviewing her now. That's I'm wondering what's going to come about from that. Let's watch this little clip
Just tell
here.
CNN that U.S. Attorney General Bondi told President Trump that his name was in the Epstein files. Let's bring in CNN's Jeff Zeleny at the White House. Jeff?
Jake, we are learning this evening that the president was briefed, as you said, by his Attorney General Pam Bondi back in May, that his name was mentioned in the Epstein files. That is what we do know. What we do not know is the context in which his name appeared. Of course, it has long been established that the president was a longtime friend of Jeffrey Epstein back in the 1990s in New York. They were featured at many parties together. Jeffrey Epstein attended one of Donald Trump's weddings at least, and on from there. But what this does is return the questions, the unanswered questions, back to the White House. The White House, of course, has been working overtime trying to change the subject with the deflection, with the distraction. But what this shows is that Pam Bondi, the Attorney General, told the president that, look, your name is mentioned in here. Of course, several other names, many other names are mentioned in these volumes of files, but it does not answer the questions that just still remain about this entire matter. Now, White House officials are telling us, look, this is not surprising. The president knew his name would be in there, but they are saying that he did nothing wrong. Of course, the president severed his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein over a real estate fight in Florida in the mid-2000s here. But what this does, again, return the conversation back to the president's name being in the files. Of course, the files have not been released. There's been an uproar over that, and many people are wondering if it is because of the Trump mentions in here. Again, we don't know the context of how many times his name appears, but we do know the president was briefed on this by his Attorney General.
Yeah, we should reiterate, this doesn't mean he did anything wrong. There's a lot of hearsay in investigative documents by definition, but it's sure interesting.
It sure is interesting, isn't it? And it kind of brings light to why he was like, why are we still talking about this Epstein guy? He died years ago. Why does anyone care? Obviously, he knows that it's bad for him. Whether he didn't do anything or not, his name is listed in there. The fact that they would not release the information just because of that, that's sickening. Okay? That's sickening, but I'm sure there is some kind of evidence, and maybe there's not. Maybe it gets sealed by the Secret Service. We don't find anything out about Trump. Jesse brings up a good point. She will cut a great deal if she says what they want to hear, and that's a problem. Okay, she has everything to gain from saying what they want to hear, right? So are we going to get the truth from her, or are we going to get some moon cheese just so that she can get out of prison? That's a problem. So that also raises more questions and concerns about this whole thing. Do I think Trump is implicated in this criminally? I think there's a high likelihood. Does anything come about it? Probably not, because it'll be sealed by the Secret Service. Jesse says, take them all down, listen to the victims. He and Epstein was deposed for SA, a 13-year-old. Yeah, I think there could be some evidence. You will never see any Epstein stuff come out. I don't think so. I think we'll get a fraction of what's supposed to come out. And let me tell you, these files that they have, this is the FBI files, all right? The CIA files, the NSA files, they're separate, and no one is ever going to get that, okay? And that's going to be more along the lines, was Epstein intelligence? Was this an operation that was happening? None of that information is going to come out because everyone's going to be focused on the FBI stuff. They're not going to realize that there's more to be had. And that's a problem as well. He's going to give Americans a lot of money to silence them. That's what I heard. You know, I'm telling you, like, that's all you got to do is lower the cost of food and make it so people can buy a house, and they will be too concerned with getting into their new house and moving to even question what's going on with the Epstein stuff. They will be distracted. Give them food and entertainment, and they will never revolt. August 1st is coming soon. We will see money soon. Stimulus checks. Ooh, that would be something, huh? I'll tell you what, stimulus checks would definitely pump the markets. Universal healthcare is what file? Exactly. Exactly. That's what it'll be. It'll be, oh, everyone's got their own home. Everyone's got something to keep them distracted. Everyone's happy, and they will all get tucked into sleep. I think stimulus checks won't be enough. I think they'll probably do that, and that'll be good for the market. But I think more or less, if people are moving into a new house and they're not paying for healthcare, that would be something that would change the narrative. At the same time, I don't think anyone ever gives up on this one. I won't. I'm not going to give up on this one. We're going to be screaming to high heaven about this for a long time. We're going to try to keep it as relevant as possible. Keep you guys talking about it, and talking about it on TikTok as well, whatever we can say, and trying to keep it alive until we get the information we want. How much do you guys pay for healthcare? That's a good question. I'm not going to say. I think that's kind of private. But most people that have healthcare pay more than if they had like federal or state healthcare. It's usually more. House Democrats force Republicans to take vote after the vote on the Epstein files. Let's take a
Tonight,
look.
Attorney General Pam Bondi's top deputy meeting at a Florida courthouse with Ghislaine Maxwell, the convicted accomplice of notorious sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche meeting privately with Maxwell and her attorneys. Earlier this week, Blanche posted if Maxwell, quote, has information about anyone who has committed crimes against victims, the FBI and the DOJ will hear what she has to say. This tonight from Maxwell's attorney.
She answered all the questions truthfully, honestly, and to the best of her ability.
The Trump administration seeking to cool the ongoing firestorm over its handling of the DOJ's files on Epstein. Today's meeting blasted by Democrats.
There is every reason to fear that Donald Trump could offer Ghislaine Maxwell a pardon in exchange for silence or even worse, phony exoneration.
It comes 24 hours after the Wall Street Journal report, citing senior administration officials, that the president was briefed in May by Bondi that his name appears in the unreleased files. The Journal reporting the files contained what officials felt was unverified hearsay about many people, including Trump, who had socialized with Epstein in the past, and that being mentioned in the records is not a sign of wrongdoing. The White House calling the story fake news. NBC News has reviewed over 1,000 pages of documents tied to Epstein or related investigations and conducted interviews with dozens of victims and attorneys, and none has suggested Trump committed a crime. All as President Trump tonight toured the Federal Reserve's $2.5 billion building renovation, which has already run over budget, squabbling over its costs with Fed Chair Jerome Powell.
It looks like it's about $3.1 billion. It went up a little bit, or a lot. So the 2.7 is now 3.1.
I'm not aware of that.
Yeah, it just came out.
You just added in a third building is what that is. That's a third building.
Well, no, but it's a building that's being built.
No, it was built 5 years ago. We finished Martin 5 years ago.
It's part of the overall work.
The president asked what Powell could do to get him to back off his criticism.
Well, I'd love him to lower interest rates. Other than that, what can I tell you?
Garrett joins us now live. Garrett, a lot of headlines involving President Trump tonight. The FCC has approved the $8 billion acquisition of Paramount, which also owns CBS.
Yeah, Tom, the sale to Skydance Media comes on the heels of that $16 million settlement between President Trump and CBS News over a 60 Minutes interview with then Vice President Harris. The FCC says Skydance will make significant changes to the CBS broadcast network to ensure, quote, diversity of viewpoints across the political spectrum. The FCC's lone Democrat dissenting with the decision, which she says threatens press freedom. Tom?
All right, Garrett Haake first. Garrett, thank you.
All right. I want to talk about the healthcare thing for a second. So we kind of, the Epstein thing, we don't really know what they're going to release. It's probably not going to be much, and people are going to fight over this no matter what comes out. But I do want to ask Shaz. Shaz is in Canada where they have free healthcare. Here's the issue with the free healthcare, okay? Yes, in the US, we pay out of pocket, but we have the options with private healthcare to get certain procedures done that are, like in Canada, a lot of people will be sick or dying or whatever, and there will be procedures that can help them, right? The problem is that the government pays for the healthcare. They won't pay for those procedures because it's too expensive. So they offer things like assisted suicide instead. That's a problem. Okay? If we have universal healthcare, we need to have access to any and all procedures that people want. Not true. I work in an ICU unit. It's not. Okay. Hear me out. Okay. It's not that that's the case, that it's a slippery slope, and that's the direction it's headed. Okay. And there are plenty of procedures that people can have that they can't get with that healthcare. That is the problem. I'm not saying that they're giving assisted suicide yet. Okay? But it's a slippery slope. Do I want to live in a world where there's procedures that can save someone's life and you can't have them because the government is saying, no, we're not going to pay for it? That's the issue. Guess we have to wait longer here and can go to the States and pay big dollars. Yeah, and I think people need the option. People need an option. Waiting for a knee replacement is 3 years. See, that's a problem. That's a problem. So it's a double-edged sword, okay? It's a double-edged sword. So there needs to be clarity in universal health care. It needs to be available in a timely manner, and it needs to be available in all aspects. And it needs to be where the person has the ability to choose and say, I want to have this procedure done, not that one. Because they have crazy advances in medicine, but they're not available to certain people because of the healthcare they have or the money they have. Universal healthcare needs to be universal. It doesn't matter how much money you have access to get certain whatever procedure done, and it done in a timely manner. Because what they'll do is they'll just wait you out. If there's a procedure that's too expensive for them to pay, but it needs to be done now, it ain't going to get done now, and it'll be too late, and then you'll be past the point of no return. That's a problem. It's a slippery slope. Just wait till you find out our hospitals are organ harvesting. Oh, yeah, that's... Dude. Yes. 100%. Don't be an organ donor. All right. If you go to the DMV, they ask you if you want to be an organ donor. They will literally kill you so that they can harvest your organs. You would have a chance to live or be resuscitated, and they won't resuscitate you just so that they can harvest your organs. Somebody is dying but has a good kidney, $100K for the hospital. Exactly. Exactly. The healthcare system is screwed up. It's all screwed up. Everything is messed up in this world right now. That's why we have this show. That's why we're trying to change things and make a positive change in the right direction. But like I said, it's a double-edged sword. We need to be more educated and more clear as the people of what it is that we want and understand what we want and how it can be accomplished. And that's the problem, is most people are low information, don't know. Healthcare in America is only about profit, not about people, and we all know it. That's for sure. In the ICU, we deal with a lot of organ donations, and it's very emotional for all. Yeah. The organ situation is a problem too. That's why they want to do the cloning. They want to, what was that movie? The Island? They would clone the people and have them live on the island, and then it was like rich and powerful people, and then they would harvest their organs. My son needed emergency surgery and they charged me $12,000 with a PPO. It's messed up. It's messed up. And the problem is we have the technology, we have the resources, but our hands are tied because the systems that we've chosen. That's the problem. We need to change the way things operate, the way things go. And even with that, it's a double-edged sword. How do we fix all these problems? What happens if you don't have insurance? Basically, they garnish your wages. They take your assets from you. Revolution. Jessica says revolution. It's all about greed. That's it in a nutshell. I know, right? And that's why I'm trying to like teach people about the markets to not be so greedy. Hopefully that transfers. When Moon? Not tomorrow. I'll tell you though. Come beginning of August, if we get trade deals, we pump because of August 1st, right? But if we don't get trade deals, we dip hard. Y'all better buy. That's going to be your last opportunity this cycle to buy and get in at those low lows. Back to $2. Thought it wouldn't age well. 126. Here we come. On what? On XRP? Yeah, we shall see. We shall see. I don't know if they go that low. They pumped everything just right before. They knew what they were doing. They're going to keep it from falling that low. You still have the short, dude. That short is going to pay off at the end of the cycle. All right. Come November, you're going to get paid. End of November, baby. End of November. Maybe sooner. Maybe we get it on the 1st. Maybe things just drop like crazy. Maybe so. It depends on how bad the deals are. All right. DOJ seeks interview with Ghislaine Maxwell amid calls to release the Trump Epstein documents. All right. We already went over that. I'm not going to beat a dead horse with that one. Let's do some TA. What's happening in November? ISO supposedly gets adopted again. It gets its last pump November 22nd. And then I think it's all downhill from there. Retail will start selling off for Christmas. I have Beer Gator merch coming in. I need to get you some tanks in about 2 to 3 months. Yeah, we'll meet up, bro. Dude, the Beer Gator thing, I have aspirations. I have ideas. As you know, dude, I've got Raider Nation. Okay, I have like one of it's like a spider web of Raider Nation connections. Not only do I go to the Raider Nation car meets, because I do like the car club stuff, but also my security guard is like a crazy Raiders fan and knows every Raiders fan, all of them. They all know each other, and it's a community. He does his social media on, I think, Instagram or Facebook. But he is plugged in as well, and dude, he's down. He's on board, and I want to tailgate party this thing. Yeah, get us, dude. What I'm thinking is we go to the games and we tailgate party and we give out free beer, free alcohol. So I brew alcohol here too, right? So I have gallons and gallons of free alcohol to give out. I don't drink. I just do it for fun. So that'll be where we can kickstart it. You know, get it going. But dude, free beer and hot dogs, bro. I'm telling you right now, people are going to come for the free booze and the free food, and they're going to stay. They're going to get toasty to the mosty, and then they're all going to buy a Beer Gator. Guaranteed. It's going to be so easy. I already bought like a pop-up tent to do it. And I got CO2 coming in the mail. I'm going to start testing the Beer Gator stuff. And then I want to get like some like sound equipment do the DJ thing, and dude, basically all the games in Vegas, man. Be there, tailgating, and promoting Beer Gator, promoting the show. It's gonna be legit. We're gonna have Jesse out there giving out free beer. It'll be awesome. Yeah, call me tomorrow, man. I have ideas. I have infrastructure set up already. I have people and know-how. Basically, it's whenever we're ready to pull the trigger, dude. I can make this thing happen. Can I come and help give out free beer? Absolutely. Absolutely. It'll be in Las Vegas. We'll be doing this. Especially if you're a female. If you're a female, we need you. Yeah, we need to work on the contract. We'll talk tomorrow, bro. Okay? Let's talk tomorrow. We need to iron this thing out. In the meantime, let's do TA. What projects you want me to look at, guys? I'll tell you what, all the people on TikTok that didn't come over here missed out on TA. Sucks to be them. Kronos. Crow. Kronos. Is Kronos a meme coin? Help me out here. Oh, dude. Kronos hit that mark that we were saying, 13 cents to the cent. Is that what we said? I think it'll do 14, to be honest with you. That's that double bottom there too. That's that first spot right there. That's that first point of resistance. This one's going to 14, 15 cents. Saw a W for a win. Yeah, that's what I'm seeing. 14 to 15 cents. I think on the low side, 13. I think it's going to do better than that. I honestly think it'll do 15 cents. That's a psychological number. And that's just to get started. All right. That's just to get started. It could do way more. Way more. Yeah, I'm going to go with that. Somewhere around 15 cents, baby. Well, I can only TA what I see, right? So obviously it can go much higher. If this is the trend, $0.25. That's where I'm seeing. If that's the trend, and obviously it could go higher. Could be trended more like that, and that would put it at like 30. Oh yeah, everything's dumping. Dude, the red light's on. All right, everything is gonna dump. But I think long term, obviously this could come back down first, and it would probably hit 11 to 10 cents. Probably like 10.5 coming back down. If it did, and it could continue back up from there. Okay, but I think overall things are bullish. Yeah, I would say probably 10.5. 10.5 looks good. 10 or 11. 10.5 to 11 cents. I honestly, I think 11 cents is more like that sweet spot, but it may very well fall to 10.5. But that first spot is at 11 cents. But everything's going up, okay? Long term, everything's going up. So it really depends on your time frame on these things. So if you're looking to buy more, just buy the dips. Everything is pretty much, I think we're going into alt season. Pretty much August is going to be your last big dip, the beginning of August to buy again. That's going to be your last chance. Obviously, there'll be other chances, you know what I mean? But like to get the low. All right, Ethereum. That looks like a bull flag. Also kind of looks like a head and shoulders in the 1 hour. Which means it could come down to like 34. But I think this one's going to keep pumping. Four hours of descending channel played out. Coming back down. Hulk Hogan, wrong orange. Dude, do you think they murdered Hulk Hogan? You think he knows something? Tell you what, though. In the 1 day, we have a descending channel, which means we could, you know, come down, come up, come down over the next couple days. Looks like 35 is the bottom. It could go to 34, possibly. Here's the thing, okay? That fair value gap takes it to 31.5. If it does break downward, it's coming to 31.5. All right, just like XRP did. It'll do something similar, but XRP has Ripple dumping on it, which is what's bringing it down to fill those fair value gaps. So this could potentially come all the way down here. But I think long term, if it breaks 4,000, it's like, if it breaks 42, it's going to go, its next spot up is going to be 44. I think it does 5,000 this cycle. I think it easily do 5,000 this cycle. At some point, that's where it could go. And I think even higher. It can go even higher. Welcome to the Matrix just keeps hanging a carrot in front of your face. Yeah. Any other projects? We got time. We got 10 more minutes. Any other projects? Is Hulk Hogan a coin? Tell me there's a Hulk Hogan coin. STX. Oh yeah, STX is about to pump, y'all. STX is about to pump. If you haven't bought STX right now is a good buy. It could potentially go to like $74. It could potentially go to like 73, 75, 74. Okay. But this one is pretty much seems its bottom, and it's that double bottom. It's that double bottom like we've been seeing. Okay. This one should pump us up to $1.35 to $1.40 to get started. Yeah. The first zone of profits is going to be $1.25. And then it'll be $1.30. And then it'll be $1.40. Really? I did buy a little bit last week. Yeah, it's definitely a good buy right now. This one's a buy. It could potentially come down more, but yeah, this is what you want to see. This is what we're looking at. This one's going up. All right, and that's with the presumption that we're going into alt season. By the way, when you guys see the red light on, you shouldn't be selling. You should be buying. All right. When you see the green light on, you should be taking profits. You know? I mean, I guess this is okay. No, don't go off of that. Ask me. Okay, ask me. Ask me. Don't go off the light. Honestly, I should just keep the light white because it just depends on what we're looking at, right? Depends on what we're looking at. This one, though. This one looks like a solid buy. Obviously, it could definitely come down a bit more, but I think it's right there at the bottom. If it does come down more, it's not coming down much further. 74.5. The lowest it's going to come down is right here. If it does, it's going to be right there. 73.81, 74. 75. Yeah, pretty much where it's at, where it wicked to could definitely be the bottom of this one. This one looks prime. Like, hopefully alt season happens. I think it does. All this crazy cycle stuff, I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. Can we talk about taking profits? I haven't done that yet. My thoughts, if you take profits in XRP, then I have less XRP. I'm not grasping the concept. Shaz, are you a deluxe subscriber on TikTok? And what I would recommend is also the technical analysis class. I think we get alt season, okay? And even if we don't get alt season, we'll get a form of alt season. It just won't be as phenomenal as what we've seen in the past. We're going to get something. Okay. As a deluxe subscriber, I offer coaching where I can teach you the taking the profits, and you can message me directly and I will help you. You can just say, hey, like, this is the project I have. Where should I be taking profits? How much you got to tell me your situation. Everyone's different, you know. We can't do that in the live. There's not enough time. I got 5 minutes left. Can you see if I'm a deluxe? What's your name on TikTok? Actually, just send me a DM on TikTok. Okay? Send me a DM on TikTok. Sharon Strong. Okay, Sharon, I believe you're a deluxe subscriber. Send me a DM on TikTok and we'll hash it out, okay? I shall help you. I think we got time for 2 more. Oh, that's beautiful. I think SXT is a buy right now too. It could potentially fall lower. If it does fall any lower, it's not going past like 8 cents. But what I would predict is this is an imbalance. So this thing's definitely going up to 10.21, 10.5 for sure. Eventually, wherever it goes from its bottom. But here's the trend line right here. Bottom. So 0.85, 0.875, somewhere around there would probably be the bottom. This is a strong buy right here too. This is a strong buy. Creating higher highs. This should, when it pumps again, reach for higher. I would think that if it breaks 12.5 its highest and it goes again, it would wick up to like 13.5 would be the next spot. So it should go from where it's at now to like 13.5. And it could obviously go higher. Look at that nice green candle. We're starting to get those big green candles again. All right. That is beautiful. That's what we want. Okay. And the fact that it came back and it filled this again, like that's what we want. That swing trade. Boom. We're going to trade this thing as it goes up and down. Obviously, we got a cup and handle here. That pretty much played out. Now we got to see what else it does. If it doesn't run up and it just consolidates, then it's going to come back down, right? And it's going to come back down to like 7 cents, maybe 6.5. All right. I don't think it does that, to be honest with you. And don't forget, 50% of donations go to OperationUndergroundRailroad.org. That's the Tim Ballard Foundation, the founder of that foundation, to stop sex trafficking of children. Right? Everything going on with the Epstein stuff, we don't want that. Look at this, baby. SXT could very well stop right there at 883. I would say 888. It's pretty much there. This one's a buy right now, I think. I would buy this, and even if it does drop down lower, it's going to stop at 8 cents and then continue up from there. In my opinion, I think so. This one is getting narrative, okay? This one is getting traction right now, okay? There's a lot of stuff going on with data right now with AI and all kinds of different stuff. This one's about to get its narrative. All right, chat? This one's ready to take off. I think this one does 50 cents this cycle. That's a long way up here. That's definitely possible. I'm happy with 20 cents. If it goes to 20 cents, I'm absolutely happy with that. Let's set our mark for 20 cents. Yes, this is SXT, baby. This one is a buy. I would say right now almost. Obviously, it could fall down to 8 cents, okay? If this thing falls any lower than 8 cents and it goes to like 7 cents or 6 cents, buy it. Buy it, buy it, buy it, buy it. Okay? Anytime this thing falls below 8 cents, you better buy it. All right? And it's just a matter of time before you're able to get some profits out of it. It might take a little bit longer, but it's going to pay off big when it does pump. All right? This one, this is your golden goose right here. This is the project that is going to make me the most money. It's so new. So new. Because it's so new and unchartable, it's actually better. It's more likely to go up. It's going to be hard to get this thing above 16.5. But when it does go above 16.5, it's and after it goes up and it gets that pullback, it's going to shoot up to 20. This one right here, baby. This is what you want. This is what you want. All right, it's 9 o'clock. Thank you guys. Appreciate you. Today's live was a little bit different. We had a debate and we had Jesse on our live. A little bit different. And I don't know if we're going to continue it that way. I'm going to talk with Jesse about it. We're going to see. We shall figure it out, right? So, appreciate you guys. Don't forget, take profits, send donations. Good night. Appreciate you. How's everybody doing today? Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, share the show with your friends. Welcome to the Ledger Lounge. I am Ozthecryptogoat, and we got some pretty exciting news for XRP today. Who saw the exciting news? Oh my goodness, can you believe it? Exciting news, just breaking news like less than an hour ago or so. Breaking news on XRP. Yeah, it's pretty incredible. Pretty incredible. We're going to talk about it today. And we have Jesse here with us today. We have a special guest coming on. Hopefully more than one special guest. We shall see. We shall see how many guests we have today. But Francesca did confirm she is coming on the show today. I'm really excited. I've been waiting to speak with Francesca on here for weeks now. So it'll be really cool. It'll be really cool. And we're going to keep it light and casual. We're not talking anything White Rock today. I'm done with that. I'm walking away from it. I'm washing my hands. What needed to be done was done, and that's it for me. I have no reason to continue with any of that. So here we are. We want to talk about XRP, right? We all want to talk about XRP, don't we? This is the Ledger Lounge. It's based off of XRP. XRP is the cornerstone. You know what? I forgot to put up the little ghost. We got our little ghost guy here. He's been with us for a very long time. I wonder when he gets to go away. I can't wait till I can take the ghost down. I'm not gonna lie. The ghost has been on this screen for so freaking long. I'm ready to take him away. I'm ready to put this guy. I'm ready to put this guy right here. That's what I want. That's what we want to see, right? But I'm not quite ready for that yet. Not quite ready. Maybe we should have a different emoji. Maybe it should be this one. Maybe this should be the emoji. Maybe that's what we should have. Don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, share the show with your friends. Everybody start liking away. I'm gonna put the Hulk back up here. What's up, Yubi? How you doing, man? Yubi, I have been meaning to reach out to you to have you on the show. I've been so busy. My brother, Yubi, is on point. If you don't follow Yubi, make sure you do. He's got some good stuff for sure. We're gonna put this guy up here. 10,000 likes, and Crypto Hulk goes to sleep. Good to see you, Yubi. I'm always happy to see a fellow creator. Send me a DM, Yubi, if you don't, and be expecting one from me. I've been meaning to reach out to you. I've been so busy. So busy. But I want to have Yubi on the show. Yubi's on point, man. I like the things you got to say. You're very fact-based. I like it, man. What's up, TikTok seller? How you doing? Everybody start liking. We got to get to 10K likes so we can go through the news and we can put the Hulk to sleep. Hulk is ready for bedtime. What do you think? You think the news is bullish, so we should have the green light on, maybe? Or maybe we should have the red light on. Or the white light. What are you guys thinking? I'm thinking this. I'm thinking this light. Which news? There's some saucy news about XRP that we're literally gonna discuss it as soon as we hit 10K likes. As soon as we hit those 10K likes, we are going to do the news. We gotta get the viewership up. We gotta hashtag FYP, hashtag must watch, hashtag crypto, hashtag live. All of these things in the chat. Let's get it rolling. I feel like we're not rage baity enough here. I think we need to bring this back. I gotta try that again. Nope. And I'll tell you what, this'll strike a nerve today. With the news that came out. This'll get them talking. That's what's missing. That's what's missing. Okay, saw a funny argument on Discord. That's all I've gotten to see today. Yeah, we're gonna, I think Josh is coming on today. He's gonna come on and tell me I told you so. He's gonna come on and give me the big I told you so. I made some memes today. And let me tell you, the meme where the guys are like, yo, look at this, and then it shows the SEC case or whatever, and then everybody runs away. I got so many I told you so's from that today, and that's perfect. That's what it's designed to do. It's designed to be thought provoking. It's designed to get you to think a little bit. Look, here it is. Where is it? Look at this. Is it? This is it. One more time.
Come look at this.
I died when I made this. I died. I was laughing so hard.
Hey, y'all, come look at this.
Martel Let. We're going to go over that. As soon as we get to 10K likes, I'm going to tell you exactly what's going to happen with XRP. Look at this is me right now. When you want to buy something, but it's almost alt season. I want this so bad. I want this gas pump at the airport to fill up the airplanes. How beautiful would this be? I want these. I want a whole slew of these for the airplanes. And obviously I'm going to have to put longer hoses on them, but yeah, I want to put these at the gas station. Let's get those likes going. 3.2K. Thank you all. Thank you all for the likes. And don't forget to join the Discord. Join the Discord. Link is in my bio. You see we got the new little dancing Discord logo in the chat. I thought I'd add a little flair, a little pizzazz. Little sheen. This one was great too. Check out this one. This one.
I want to watch my show.
I was meme happy today. I was out at a doctor's appointment, and I was just sitting in the waiting room for like 2 hours. I waited in the waiting room, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna make some memes. And I finally broken out of my meme writer's block, and finally I'm producing memes again, because there's been this meme that I want to create, and I just can't do it because of copyright infringement. I cannot get a copy of the clip I want to use. It just isn't possible. I can't, it's so copyrighted that I can't even point my phone at the screen and record it and then turn it into a meme. Ugh. But finally the writer's block is gone. So we got some rage bait here. A little XRP. I wish there wasn't a tombstone emoji. I wonder if there is. I don't understand why there's not a tombstone emoji. That seems like something that should exist. Why don't we have a tombstone emoji? And don't forget to spam the chat. Don't forget the hashtags, guys. Hashtag FYP, hashtag, crypto, hashtag, all the hashtags. Any hashtag you can think of. Hashtag fun works. The hashtags are really, really helpful. But when we get to 10K likes, we get into the FYP rather quickly. I'm just not seeing a tombstone emoji. Maybe I can make one. Maybe we can use this. Turn it upside down like that. How do we erase the bottom? Maybe some grass or something underneath it. Gotta be something we can do. I'm gonna make this happen. We need a tombstone emoji. Let's bring that down like this. And let's do, I mean, we're kind of close here. This needs like a bed of grass. Even like a black line would be perfect. Not just a black line to put underneath it. 10K this year. Oh, I know, right? Hashtag XRP 10K. How about broccoli? Broccoli do it? Maybe this. Lettuce. Whole bunch of lettuce stacked up. This might work. This could be fun. What do you think? Does that look like grass? Kind of looks like grass. Oh yeah, that works. I like it. And then what we'll do is we'll take the text, right? And we'll put a text in here. Weird. All right, let's see here. Let's do black text. And let's do, that's as big as it goes. Maybe we can shrink that. Get rid of this. $11K, let's go. Let me finish my RIP tombstone, and then we'll be ready to rock and roll. Don't forget to spam the chat. Whenever we have a guest on, guys, and nothing's going in the chat, make sure that you're spamming the chat with emojis or something. There we go. There's our tombstone. What do you think? I think we bring it down. I wonder if I can change the font. Nope. All right, I dig it. That works. Jason with the money. Jason, did you buy XRP today? Revolution with the moon cheese. All right, I'm going to get rid of the Hulk. So I've got the crazy lights on because the world is crazy right now. Truth is stranger than fiction. I did not expect this. I did not expect this. At the same time, I did expect it. I just didn't expect it so soon. I hate when these curtains get messed up. It's got to look nice. I'm very OCD about my curtains. I haven't bought XRP since last year. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I bought it once or twice since January, but that's about it. And I've cashed out since. XRP to 200 by 2030. Clock it. I could see $25 by 2030. That's possible. That's possible. Bruce Wayne, Batman. I raise you, Bruce Wayne, and I add you one marble. I'm actually more of a fan of DC anyway, buddy. So don't worry. I am Batman, by the way. In case you didn't know this, everyone, I am Batman. I am the Dark Knight. Yes, the Hulkinator. Rawr. So, I've got the crazy lights on. All right. Oh, yeah, I got Yoda too. Yoda's right here with me. I got a new Yoda. I mean, I still have the old one, but this is my new Yoda for this show. I wanted to have him like hanging or like floating right here. I just haven't gotten to it. I don't have, and I want it to kind of like bob a little bit. Just kind of like float across. I bought 1K at 9 cents and sold at 70 cents. Oh, I bet you're kicking yourself right now. Where do I believe it's going? I believe it's going to probably like 221, 220, and then back down. And I'll give credit where credit's due. This creator said it first, but I agree with them. Golden Arches. And this was J-Dan. Back down, why? Oh, we're going to cover that. We're going to cover that, but we're saving the best for later. Make sure you stick around, especially if you're in XRP. You do not want to miss the coverage on XRP, okay? Make sure you stick around. We do have a special guest today. I'm hoping Josh comes on. All right, I really do. I hope Josh comes on so that way we can talk about it. And if you're watching on Twitch, click the link and sign up for HelloFresh and get 10 free meals on me when you use my promo code. And when you sign up for HelloFresh, not only do you get amazing, delicious meals delivered to your door, and it's going to save you time and money and make you healthy, you're also donating to the show. I receive $90 for every HelloFresh sign up. So make sure that you click that link on the screen. There's a link you can click, and it also comes up periodically in the chat. And when you click that link, you can get those HelloFresh for a amazing discount. And I'll tell you what, with the price of food right now, I have found that HelloFresh is actually very, not only you can set a set budget for your food and you know your meals are covered. It's going to save you time, money, energy. I'm surprised. So I get the HelloFresh here and I've lost weight. Okay. I was 250 pounds and I'm down to 205. It's pretty incredible. And it's good food. I got to tell you, it's good food. So make sure you click the link and you sign up. Delicious meals delivered right to your door. HelloFresh. Make sure you use my promo code or click on my link. At Jason14, good luck, bud. See you at the top. Yeah, XRP is going down. But hear me out, okay? I think it goes up first. Then it comes down. But it will have a run because everyone, let me tell you, with what the news that came out, even when we found out that the case was going to be dragged out for a long time, you know, everyone was still so bullish. And I was like, you know what? This is a good indication that it does not matter. People are going to buy XRP, and that means that people who are reluctant on XRP are still going to buy it too, because it's going to move. What will it go to? I just put 10K into it. Oh, Big Baller, aren't you a deluxe subscriber? Why didn't you message me, bro? You might change your mind. I need a get out spot. I would say 220. 220. And then, all right. I'm going to tell you why. But I think you'll make some money. I definitely think you'll make some money. And I guess, you know, you bought the rumor news. It was kind of news. But, yeah. It's going to pump because of this, and then it's going to hit resistance at 220 and come way down, especially when people find out the truth. Got in at 196. Oh, dude, you're looking beautiful right now then. You made some money. Good for you, man. I haven't seen a good entry. I mean, 190 was a decent entry. Okay, there was money to be made there, but I think it comes down more. I think we see at least 175, 180. At least, if not lower. Like, I think it hits, but it could potentially go to 150. But I'll tell you what, I doubt it goes like super low unless some crazy fear narrative comes out. And that's why they came out with the moon cheese today. FOMO has it hit. Oh, it's hitting right now. We're going to get FOMO up to 220 for sure. But I'll tell you what. Who heard the news about XRP today? Who heard the news? Raise your hand, chat, if you've heard the news yet. Raise your hand. I literally took the time to create a tombstone emoji. So that should tell you something. Adam, what's going on, bro? The real or the fake one? 'Cause both. I mean, it's really not fake news. It's just misleading news. That's what I would call it. And that's what they do. They tell the truth with a lie. They tell the truth with a lie. XRP just needs to jump to 125 already and get it over with. Yeah. I'll be happy when XRP hits $1 or 75 cents, and then I'll be like, okay, I'm ready to buy more. I'm ready to start accumulating for the next time. If I even start buying it again, I may just keep moon bags that I've had for many years that have paid off every cycle, or I'll start looking into RWAs, which I'm leaning towards the RWAs. I'm really feeling like Solana, though. I feel like Solana is going to do really well. What number is Solana? Where is Solana at? Yeah, Solana is right under, it's number 6. Solana is going to do really well. Solana, Tron may or may not. I think people know about the shell company thing. Adam says we're not going to 125, bro. Dude, we're going to eventually go lower than that. Once the bull run's over, it will go below $1. Maybe at $1, but I think it hits 75 cents to 50 cents again. A lot of people are going to diamond hand the shit out of this thing. So I'm kind of leaning more towards the 75 cent to $1 once it is done. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It will see, everyone keeps saying that, and that's the misinformation. People are like, oh, it can never go below that. Yes, it can. Yes, it can. Once the bull run is over, It's toasty to the mosty, baby. Everyone says it'll never drop below $2 again. It will. I just need to sell at 220. Yeah, I mean, I'd keep a little in there just in case of moon cheese, but I think it hits 220 and then it comes back down to 190, 180. When is the start of the bull run? The bull run started in what, like July last year? The bull run's on. We're like in the end of it. We've got a couple months left to bull run and then it's over. Maybe it's like this dragged out mega cycle. I doubt it. Yeah, I'm thinking September is the end and then possibly we get a surprise next year. And I'll tell you what, if you missed the show yesterday, make sure everyone, if you watch the show regularly, especially, but if you missed yesterday's show, make sure you go on to YouTube and watch yesterday's show. Okay. You guys need to see this, and this way you will understand what is happening in this bull run and you can be prepared. Okay, because there is a potential for faces to be melted on the upside or the downside. Make sure you watch it. I implore you. Okay, it's not clickbaity, okay? It's not anything. You guys need to see this. Okay? You guys need to see this. This is yesterday's live was probably the most important live that we've had so far. If you're not in the right coins, it may feel like it hasn't started, but it has. Exactly, Jason. Exactly. So let's take a look at all the gifts. So TikTok seller with the 9 roses, Neo with the heart me, Neo with the 5 popular votes, Marco with the heart me as well. Don't forget to send in a heart me and 2 popular votes, or send in the community fests. Those are the best right now for the algorithm. I don't even see it anymore. Now it's a backing monkey. Oh, here it is. This is what we need. We need to get these right here. These right here are the best thing right now when you're getting these. And don't forget to click the little link up here, okay? There's a little link. It's right up here, and it's the community fest symbol, okay? Click that link and send me some votes. It's completely free, okay? Send me votes for Community Fest. You can send more than one. I think you can send like 19 or 20 of them, okay? Send me votes for Community Fest. It doesn't cost anything. Thank you for the Community Fest symbols, but those are great. Those help. But you can actually vote for free by clicking. There's like a little banner up here. And you should be able to click that. It'll take you, and you have to do it while I'm going live. So you click that little banner up here, and that will send you, and you just click to vote. And you can vote as many times as you want, like a whole bunch of them. Make sure you do that. Big Baller with the 83 Community Fest. Big Baller with the Level Up Sparks. Revolution with the 10 Community Fest. Mother of Dragons with the popular vote and the heart me. Big Baller with a heart me. Marco with a heart me. Thank you guys so much. You guys are amazing. So let's see here. Bro, when moon? We went and we are headed back home. We could potentially go to the moon again, okay? There could be another run, but if you are asking when moon, okay, you need to go onto YouTube and watch yesterday's show. It's the most recent show that's uploaded, okay? Go watch it. I'm telling you, you need to watch this. It's the one that says like alt season explained or something. I forget what it is. Let me pull it up here, actually. Why not? Let me pull it up. I'll show you which one it is. Make sure you go and you watch this video, okay? So you go to Ozthecryptogoat, at Ozthecryptogoat, same as TikTok, okay? And go to videos and look at it's XRP case settlement denied altcoin season ? Okay? You need to watch this show right here. Okay? This one and the one before it, but definitely this one right here, okay? I just uploaded it. Watch it, okay? If you're asking when moon or will there be an altcoin season, it is all answered in this live. I'm not saying no moon. That's why I'm saying, Dan, you need to watch it. It will completely break down everything for you, and you will understand what is going on, and you will understand what you need to do to be prepared for what may happen, so that you can time things perfectly and make sure that you're lined up properly. Do not miss this one. Do watch it. I'm telling you. If you are asking when moon, are we having an altcoin season? And I get that question the most. Okay. This one answers it right here. It's this one. Okay. Look at him. Got the little Hulk guy up there. Okay. Watch it. I'm telling you. And this is on YouTube. Okay. These are, every live is recorded and uploaded onto YouTube. So if you miss something, you can go back and watch it. But it's titled XRP case settlement denied altcoin season ? Okay. You need to watch this live. This is everything. This is the answers to all your questions. And it breaks it down so detailed. You're never going to ask that question again. You're going to know and understand what is going on. So don't miss out on that, okay? I implore you. I implore you. All right, everybody, tap away. Tap away. Let's get to 20K likes and we'll get into the news. I'm wondering when Francesca is supposed to be here. Let me send her a reminder. She may have... So Francesca's supposed to be on the show in about 20 minutes. So let me make sure that she's ready to go and she's going to make it or whatever. I'll tell you what, a lot of creators cancel on me, and that's fine. I'll tell you who's been really consistent, though, is Josh. Anytime there's some good news for XRP, he does not skip a beat, man. I'll tell you what, though, I like the tombstone. The tombstone is legit. This is cool. How do you guys like the new little Discord thing? Right? Did you guys make sure you sign up for my Discord? And also, if you are having questions like when alt season, what should I be doing? How should I be trading? What should I do? All those questions, especially if you're new here, I recommend becoming a deluxe subscriber. Click the link. There's like a star. It's like down at the bottom here, okay? And it's a star with a circle around it. Click that link, become a deluxe subscriber, and I will coach you one-on-one. Nlock17 says, appeals withdrawn from Ripple. Did the SEC withdraw officially too? They will. The SEC will withdraw officially too, and they're going to split it up, okay? We're going to talk about it. I'm saving it for later because this is juicy. I know everybody wants to talk about it, but we got to have Josh on. Yes, the injunction stays. More than the injunction stays, but we're going to talk about it later. Maybe we should talk about it now. Jason, you want to come on the show as a guest and talk about it? Or anybody believe that XRP is going to the moon now? Anybody want to come on as a guest? Until Francesca comes on, if you guys want to talk about XRP, we can. Injunction means everything. What are you talking about? Enlock, come on. I need to hear it. Enlock, I need you to explain to me because I don't understand. Please explain it to me. Click the co-host. Let me see. They can sell it differently. Yeah, to retail. With family at the moment. All right. We're going to talk about it in a little bit, okay? But we can argue, okay? We can argue about this. I want to argue about it. I want you to prove me wrong, change my mind, make me bullish. I want to believe. Make me believe in the moon cheese and I will eat it all, okay? Let me tell you something right now. I've got massive sideline bags right now. Massive. Convince me to buy your coin because I am gearing up to buy. All right. Convince me to buy what you're in already because whatever I buy is going to create a massive God candle. All right. My buy orders create FOMO. So tell me what I should be buying. Convince me. Make me believe because I'm with the rest of the trillions of dollars that are sidelined right now. Okay? Make me believe. Bro, I have 100K to throw when you're ready, Oz. I know, right? I want to be bullish, man. I'll tell you what, the only one who has been minutely able to get me a little bit bullish are two people, okay? There are only two people that have got me sort of bullish, okay? And one is Mega Crypto, the other one is Cosmic Crypto, okay? Cosmic has done a better job, though. I'll tell you what, because Mega jumped on the bear train with me. All right. Cosmic is really, really working me hard, trying to get me to buy. XRP doesn't need an explanation. I need it. I need one. Tell me why it doesn't need an explanation. I have a lot of money, okay, that I don't want to lose. Why would I throw it at something that's make me believe, okay? My explanation is I don't want to go back to work. I like being retired. So you got to convince me. You got to convince me to buy your project. I'm leaning towards Solana. Kodak says Solana, but I can't convince you. Yeah, I pretty much convinced myself that Solana is going to be a decent one because everyone's memed out right now. Everybody's in the trenches. When altcoin season starts, they'll all jump into Solana and FOMO on it. They're all those memers are about the Solana, man. Okay? The memers are going to buy it up. And I mean, I get it. That's cool. Like, that's why I'm like, okay, there's a strong sentiment behind it. So make me believe in your project. I want to buy it. Okay? I want to buy. I feel like we're nearing the end of this bear cycle. I wouldn't even call this a bear cycle. I think we're ending this bearish trend. Okay? So convince me what I should be buying. Ripple just has to register the sell with the SEC now before selling it to institutions. Wrong again. The injunction is still in place. Al Roadkill, how you doing? Glad to see you, buddy. Solana can do everything XRP can and faster. I know, right? That's why I'm thinking Sol. SOL. You know what's another one that's I think is a sleeping giant is Polygon. I think Polygon's gonna get something out of this one. Appeal has been sent in as well. We don't need that appeal though. Who sent in an appeal? The SEC dropped the appeal? Is that what you're saying? First ever crypto media or social media platform. Pump Fun, right? I think Pump Fun is crypto social media. Yes, but for unregistered sales, my guy. Exactly. You think Polygon's dead? I'm wondering. You know, everyone's saying the same thing about NFTs, but I don't think they're dead either. I think they're sleeping giants. I think a lot of NFT projects are dead, but I think that they're going to NFT certain things like deeds to real estate and things like that. And those will be valuable because there'll be a deed to real estate and you'll own the deed to something and it'll be backed by a real world asset. That's why I think that when RWAs actually become functional, they're going to need NFTs. If they register, they can sell. Injunction stops unregistered sales, different roles altogether. Jesse, can we get a fact check on that? Can Ripple register with the SEC and then the injunction just goes away? Let me know when you're ready to come on. I already know the answer to this, but let's get some actual factual backed information. The question is, or they say, if Ripple registers with the SEC, they can sell and the injunction stops unregistered sales, different route altogether. So they're saying if Ripple registers with the SEC, then they can sell to institutions. Can Ripple sell to institutions if the injunction is in place, even though if they register first? Institutions will buy from exchanges. Here's the thing, okay? I believe in XRP. I'm not afraid to say it. You know what? That's why I think it's still going to run, because everyone, let me tell you, I understand why. You need it to. A lot of people bought at $3 or more, and they're living on a hope and a dream, and it is the hope of I put $100 or $1,000 into something, and it's going to change my life. People need hope right now because the world is hopeless. So I get it. I don't want to crush your dreams and destroy your hopium. I get it. But at the same time, I want you to actually become wealthy. I can actually help you become wealthy without the hopium, because the hopium is going to break your heart. All right, Jesse, go ahead. Talk to me.
Okay, so the question that you're asking is that with the injunction still in place, are they still able to sell to institutions? Is that what you were asking?
Yes. Can they file with or register with the SEC, and then they'll be allowed to sell to institutions? And then the injunction becomes null and void.
As long as the injunction that's in place is permanent until that is addressed, it prohibits Ripple, from selling XRP to any institutional, any deals, because it would be a violation of security laws. And so until that injunction is sorted out, they can't do anything. And if they try to sell, it is now a criminal matter.
So if